ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
AFL.
What a stage. This game is coming to life.
The 2023 AFL Premiership season.
The roar will tell you the story. Fans are on their feet. Can't believe what they're about to see. Holds his arms out wide and tells them to get excited.
What a game. It's got everything. It's like Grease Lightning. It's so cool.
On the run. It's happening again. It's a whole new game.
Cause here it comes, here it comes.
With a talk from 55. Hello. That is the cream on the cake.
Sometimes you've just got to sit back and enjoy the show.
And we have a thriller. To Goey, chest down, goal.
Something big is coming.
Goes for home. He's got it. Phenomenal finish.
Something big is coming. Something big is coming.
Boys, goals, brilliant.
The 2023 AFL Premiership season.
The chance exchange blows at either end.
Step up in the big moment.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
This is a fantastic game of football we've got here.
The big time spot. His drop punt is pure.
Here they come.
What a finish.
Oh, he's a star. What a game.
Brilliant.
He comes. He goes.
Here comes the way of Nick Dacos. Gives it to Josh. They've got Dacos running through their DNA.
AFL.
Hard up against the boundary in the right. Oh, that's one of the goals of the season. Steps on, bends it home. You cannot teach that. Brings it back superbly. Has a shot in the pocket. He is smoking tonight. Snaps around the body. Sensational goal.
And that's what brings fans through the game.
40 out. What a superstar.
Goes for home. They're red hot.
Punches the air in celebration. Outside of the boot. From the impossible angle.
It's high. It's long. It's straight.
Unguarded Goldsman. He's got it. This is just getting good at the G.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio.
Sport Digital.
And now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
The Giants travel to the MCG for the first time in 2023. Round 9 of the AFL, and waiting for them are the ladder leaders Collingwood, who continue to find ways. Starting the season, 7 wins from their opening 8 games, a chance to move back on top of the AFL ladder by a game. The Magpies have won 15 of their last 16 of the MCG. Their only loss came against Geelong in the qualifying final last year. Well, the Giants are in 13th position, 3 wins and 5 losses, following a 15-point loss to the Western Bulldogs in Canberra last week. Third-year defender Cameron Fleeton will make his debut. Unfortunately, Toby Green isn't there for the Giants. Adam Kingsley saying he had a fitness test on Friday and just didn't quite feel right. While for the Pies, they're without Billy Frampton, so another blow to their tall stocks, but Darcy Moore, Jordan De Goey and John Noble have all been named. The team sheets coming just a little while ago with Reef McGuinness and Cal Ward, the respective subs this afternoon. It's 21 degrees, a pleasant day at the MCG. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there celebrating, and for those who are without their mums, obviously it's a sad day for you, so hopefully a few stories and some time spent with family, given that we wouldn't be here without them. Corbin Middlemass is here to call the action alongside me. Welcome to you, Corby.
Thanks, Clinchy. It is the curtain closer for round 9. It's pretty rare we do the very last game of the round, but it must be said it hasn't been overly enthralling on the park. So that the closest game was decided by 17 points. We had 2 70-point games. The average winning margin this weekend has been 43.5 points. So hopefully we get something a little closer. But the one big news story of the week was clearly what happened here last Sunday. We're all here for Sydney up against Collingwood. We saw Lance Franklin, one of the champions of the game, get jeered from start to finish. It's so rare, Clinchy, that a club actually puts out a statement apologising on behalf of their fans. We saw the reaction on Talkback Radio and on social media that a lot of Collingwood fans took that pretty hard. I'm fascinated to see what kind of reception they get here today. There's going to be very few GWS fans, as there often is for away games and some home games, Lids, but certainly on this occasion, very few here at the MCG. So how will they treat not just the opposition but their own team here today after the events of the week? And to have a statement that's put out, signed and led by the captain, as well as the coach and the chief executive, it'll be intriguing to hear from Collingwood as to what the week's been like, how they came to making that kind of a statement so soon after the game on Sunday.
And it would have been interesting if Toby Green was playing. Would have they booed the opposition's best player? It would be interesting to see, but he's not out there for the Giants this afternoon. And the Collingwood players presenting their mums in the change rooms with flowers before the game. You mentioned Brett Delidio. He's here. He still has loyalties to the Giants. Welcome to you, Lids.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's not often we get the graveyard shift. That's what I used to think of it as when I was playing. I hated sitting around watching and waiting.
Wait the whole weekend for your turn.
Oh, mate, give me the first game on the Saturday or a Friday night. I loved round one for the Tigs because it was always that Thursday. You had the whole weekend to yourself, So a bit of a battle, but not a heap of orange out there, Corby, as I'm looking around. It's a bit similar to the prelim that I played in against the Tigers back in 2017. 95,000 Tigers supporters, not many orange ones, but no, hopefully we get a good game. I don't mind the Giants. They've been going really well competitively wise, but they're up against a pretty slick outfit in the Pies today.
The Giants make their way out onto the MCG, led by Josh Kelly, who will be the captain this afternoon. It must be said their cheer squad at the Punt Road end looks a little smaller than what we would have hoped, but Cameron Fleeton, who's making his debut this afternoon, around 20 of his friends and family have made their way up from Geelong to see his debut on the MCG. Alongside Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy is here. Welcome to you, Murph.
Hey, Clinchy, good to be with you, Corb and Lids on a Sunday twilight fixture. I think you're spot on, though, Clinchy. I reckon it would have been interesting with Toby Green playing, because I reckon they definitely would have booed him.
Him and Bruzzy, though, they have really good, Braden Maynard I'm talking about, have great matchups, it would have been good to see, and you reckon he would have got booed?
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know, he's one of those figures that we all know he's a superstar, Toby Green.
Yeah.
But he's one that divides a few. I think everyone else loves him, but I think when you're playing against him on that day, the opposition supporters certainly have him in the gun.
Yeah, and I was no different when I played against him at the Tigers. Get up with playing with him, and you love him to bits.
Yeah.
But so I can understand that. But this booing of star players, like seriously.
I'm interested in how Collingwood treat their own team today, because I saw things this week such as we feel like we've been thrown under the bus, had a knife stabbed in our back. We're meant to be the 19th man, and they've turned on us and hung us out to dry. So I'm almost as interested to see how they treat their own team today as much as they treat the opposition.
Is that everyone, or is that just that small little group that sit behind the goals that are talking about that sort of stuff?
So the minority on social media.
So I think that's the interesting wrestle, because in the media we can often be our own little enclave, and we feel like the people that we hang out with and the people that we watch footy with, that is the prevailing view. That's what everyone thinks. And often we're not. We're the minority. So we think that the people that we watch footy with all think the same way, when there's probably a lot more of them, Lids, than there is of us
100%.
when it comes to conversations like this. So I think we'll find out today as to what sort of reaction we get from the Magpie Army, because they are one of the most passionate fan bases in football. And they've obviously been front and centre again this week in a way that they haven't been on board with the club's messaging, at least not as a collective.
We've got some listeners who are about to join us in around a minute or so's time. So, Murphy, juggled the Mother's Day responsibilities, just wedged in between your ABC Sport commitments?
Yeah, it did. It was in the studio from 12 to 1, and then went and had a nice lunch with Jessie and the kids. Which was great. So then I've got the mother-in-law and my mum and Jessie on Tuesday for a lunch. So
belated.
A little belated Mother's Day, but happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Absolutely. Can I jump in there too?
Have you been doing some heavy lifting over the last few days?
Oh, mate, yeah. I do most of the time, actually, to be honest. Unsung
That's
hero.
not true. Hello to Katie.
This is not the day.
My beautiful wife she's been a bit crook, to be honest. So I've been doing my bit with the girls at home, but. A big shout out to my beautiful mum as well. Happy Mother's Day, Mum. Hopefully you're listening on your drive home. But, mate, they do a great job, don't they, the mums? They certainly always there for me as a shoulder to cry on. Not just my wife, but my mum in particular. More so when Dad was giving it to me. Mum was always there.
And you would have heard in the background, Collingwood have made their way out onto the MCG, led by Darcy Moore, who is there for the black and white this afternoon. And Nick Dacos will be hoping he might get a bit less attention than what he's had over the last couple of weeks as he faces off against the Giants. As we welcome listeners throughout New South Wales and the ACT through ABC News Radio, you're at the MCG. It's the final match of round 9 with Collingwood taking on GWS. Matt Clinch and Corwin Middlemaster to call the action. Jess Webster's down on the boundary. Your experts are our 2 number 1 draft picks, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy, and we're around 10 minutes away from the opening bounce. There's no late changes, so Reece McGuinness is the substitution for the Magpies, and Cal Ward for the Giants. Are you a little bit surprised about Cal Ward? A couple of goals last week against the Western Bulldogs. I guess he's in the twilight of his career now at 33 years of age, but given some of the players that are missing, I'm a bit surprised he's the sub.
Yeah, I am, but I also think it might have been a pre-arranged idea, Clinchy, in that they were going to look after him. They'd stepped out his whole year, essentially, and thought that this might be one that they can look after him. You just hope that the Giants don't get an early injury where he has to play more minutes than what they had initially planned. But I guess with other injuries and whatever else, and Tobe's not playing, so they probably thought, he can play both back and forward, but also go through the middle for us. He's an experienced head. He's going to be able to manage all the expectation, everything that comes with it. I can understand it, but he's also he's been one of the heart and soul players for a long time down there at the Giants.
So I'm interested to watch the Giants a bit more closer today, Lids, as to how they're travelling. They've had 5 losses by an average of 15 points. It feels like they're in every game, but they have little lapses where they're overcome. And Adam Kingsley's sort of spoken about bringing that pressure and being able to penalise opposition. So their wins against Adelaide, Hawthorn and the Sydney Swans. Their losses have come against the West Coast Eagles, Carlton, Essendon, the Brisbane Lions and the Western Bulldogs. So a closer look today at the MCG as to who they'd like to be and can they maximise that against a side we think who's one of the best in the competition.
Well, they certainly are on paper, Clinchy, with the names that they've still got playing for them. But I think from what listening to Adam Kingsley and what you see on the park is their ability to pressure, but keep that pressure going for the full 120 minutes. You know, that's going to be the key for them. You know, you can have as much talent as you want, but if you've got your star player down to your 23rd player doing the same thing, you know, they're all tackling, chasing and putting pressure on the opposition, you're going to be in a lot of games. But that's been the ifs, buts and maybes, I suppose, with the Giants over a fair journey. Do they do that consistently? So it'll be interesting to see, Murph. Can they bring that for 120 minutes today? And they'll need to against this side that we know speak consistently about playing 120 minutes.
Yeah, you're right, Lids. They certainly will need that entire 120 minutes to make sure they get the job done. I think they come here with more of the mentality, if you're a golfer, to pull out the driver and just have a red-hot swing at it down the fairway and see what results from it, because I don't think really anyone in the football world would be expecting the Giants to come out here and win this afternoon. So they get an opportunity. And as you said, They've still got some real stars amongst their side. So they just need the next tier to follow those stars and to get involved and to lift their game a little bit. But as Clinchy did say, they have been in nearly every game they've played this year, which is a good sign that Adam Kingsley, no doubt, would really enjoy seeing. It's about being better for longer, and that's the real challenge of these sides who aren't near the top, who are trying to get to that final late contention.
Do you think they tag Nick Dacos today?
I'm not sure by looking through the list who has the ability to do that. He's done it before. Whether or not it goes against the way in which they like to structure up, I think there's certainly got to be a more of an accountability to Nick and where he is, because
that has to be one person though, doesn't it? You can't have a full team responsibility because he's just too good.
I think you can have a half forward play more of an accountable role when he's playing half back.
I reckon.
And then if he goes to a wing, you have someone who is more suited to playing on him on a wing. But when he goes in the midfield, you want to back in your midfielders around the centre square bounce when it's in there. And then whether or not you come and play an accountable role from the centre square bounce, that'll be interesting to see if they go down that path. But I think you can't let him just try and pull you apart as well. So that's something that I actually was impressed by, the way in which Nick Dacos spoke last week, and about how his side really enjoys it when he gets a tag, because he can just pull them apart however he likes. So I think there's a certain part of the game in which he can be limited and limit the influence on him. But as we all have seen so far this year, he's got an enormous tank. He's got the footy smarts and the tricks to understand how he can best utilise his smarts and ability to get forward, because he's so damaging when he does get that ball from anywhere in the ground, really. But you want to try and limit the ball going inside 50 or going more in an attacking manner. So I like to see someone try and not rustle him up off ball. I don't really like seeing players getting hit 100 metres off ball, because that's not tough. That's easy to do.
Yeah.
So, and you enjoyed the way in which Nick Dacos sort of almost copped last week when he was getting whacked from him. He just couldn't care less.
Just walked away.
And then when the ball was in his area, then that's when he went and hunted the football, and that's what you like to see. But I think that's the easy stuff, to whack him when the ball's nowhere near him, is to get your body in between him and the ball. If you've got that roll on him, that's the hard part. So get that right.
What about Eddie Maguire's suggestion during the week on Footy Classified that we should have a taunting rule like the NFL? That if you go and try and body up and show how tough you are, a bit of machismo after kicking a goal, that you should give away a free kick?
Well, I thought it was actually all right for the game at the start. Got everyone involved. I don't like the hitting from behind and whacking guys.
Or the rubs on the head. I don't like that rubbish.
I feel that stuff's just no good. And blokes who rub heads of opposition players, like, you completely go down in my book as a flog. So,
I'm with you. 100%.
If you want to go down that route, you can. But in my books and most people, I think you look like a flog. So don't do it. I think getting into a player the right way, not whacking him when his back's turned, and I think there's right ways to do it. I think we certainly need to have that physical element of our game. I think that's why we all love football. I think the Swans went too far with rubbing his head and all that sort of rubbish that went on involved with it. But,
your dad would have said the same thing to you probably. If someone did that back in my day, tell you what, that was the last head they rubbed.
He actually made the comment this morning at Auskick. He goes, you would have had 1,000 possessions if you played this day and age.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. We love the insights. So Collingwood and GWS. The Magpies have the Blues next week, and then they've got North Melbourne, West Coast in the next couple of weeks. So we're trying to get a gauge as to how good Collingwood are. As Corby mentioned, some of the results this weekend have been sort of pretty lopsided. So it feels like there's a bit of a gap starting to open up between the better sides and whether Collingwood are going to have a dip at any stage.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Like they've been challenged, but they've risen to that as well and shown that playing the full 4 quarters and coming home with that wet sail, whether that's mental or that's just their physical preparation, they've got full belief in their game plan. That's what I love, is they just keep playing their way and they grind you down. They've looked at times like they are the best, if not in the top 2, I reckon, right, for patches in games. I don't reckon they've put a full game together just yet, where they've really just blown a side away and kept the foot on the throat. They've allowed teams to come back or get in front and then have to chase them down again. So could today be the day? I don't know. I think the Giants will challenge them enough, but they're, without a couple of key players, the Giants, I reckon it makes it a bit harder.
Yeah, it does. I think them, along with Melbourne and Geelong are the 3 best teams in it. Brisbane's probably the next rung down, who along with sort of Port Adelaide, I feel. But I think they're certainly one of the standout sides, and I think they've been playing, some really good football and some patches which I'd like to have back. But I think sometimes that's a really good sign of a good footy team. They just find a way to get over the line, and they continually do that.
Players are going through their final preparations here as the 2 captains make their way out to the middle. There's no Toby Green this afternoon, so Josh Kelly with the captaincy duties for the Giants, and Darcy Moore, who didn't train all week until the captain's run on Saturday, had an infection in his elbow, so had some antibiotics.
It's weird.
And was eventually right to take his spot, but Craig McRae said during the week if he doesn't train, he won't play. So at least he was able to get out for the final run, and there was some concerns around Jordan Agoe and John Noble, but all have been named and are all lining up in the Collingwood lineup. The final member of our team sitting in the front row of the grandstand this afternoon is Jess Webster. Welcome to you, Jess. Great to have you on board.
Thanks, Clinchy. Great to be here. And Melbourne has had absolutely gorgeous weather today, and it's pretty good at the moment, about 19 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, but it is going to get pretty cold, I think, when that sun sets, and the dew might set in as well. So I've got the beanie and the puffer jacket at the ready, boundary side. But also just want to mention Cam Fleeton, who's making his debut for the Giants today, grew up a Pies supporter, so a bit of fate for him this afternoon, playing against the side he grew up worshipping.
Thanks, Jess. Looking forward to your contributions throughout the afternoon. On the SMS, if you want to get in touch with us, 0437 774 774. King's birthday Monday. That might have sort a few things out when Collingwood take on Melbourne. That's certainly one to look forward to. Dean, you mean they should act like Ryan Crowley?
I just read that. Crowds. He used to talk to you the whole way. He's just like, shut up, mate. I don't want to speak to you. I'm actually got right off you at the moment.
Act like your best mate while he's trying to do a job on you. And Michelle says, really, it's okay to whack a second-year player, but, geez, Collingwood supporters booing is disgusting. And the Pies should win. Tag Dacos fairly. You have to tag him like Cameron Lang. That's from Andy in Wodonga. So your SMS is always welcome, 0437 774 774. Both games today, Corby, are on pay TV. So if you don't have access to that, ABC Listen app, download that, and we can bring you all the action. Firstly, between the result today, Adelaide winners over the Saints to move back inside the top 8. And the final match of round 9, the Magpies looking to move back a game clear on top of the AFL ladder. Here's Corbin Middlemass to get us underway. Collingwood and GWS from the MCG.
It'll be Matt Flynn and also Mason Cox to go at it in the middle as the curtain comes down on round 9. Flynn gets the first hit out. Down to Goey. Hand pass away to Tom Mitchell. Hooks a kick forward for the Pies. Another centre break, but Whitfield marks at centre half back for the Giants. The number 1 handball to kick ratio in the game, so they handball more than any other team. GWS in obviously relation to how many kicks they have, as Whitfield gives it to Ash and now to Cornelio. He swings a kick across the half-back flank to Haynes. Short kick to Kelly. Bit of a contrast between those pink boots and the orange socks as he heads down to half-forward for GWS. No mark, spills to Daniels. Hand pass back into dispute. Crisp knocks it down. Side bottom paddles it out of bounds. And a throw in 70 metres out from the Giants' goal. They're kicking to the punt road end. GWS all in orange with the charcoal G and the white shorts. Meanwhile, for Collingwood, it's their home game, so black shorts and the black and white stripes.
Murphy to Himmelberg, Darcy Moore to Jesse Hogan, and Braden Maynard alongside Toby Bedford inside the forward 50 for the Giants. Thrown back in. Flynn wins down the tap against Cox. A chance for Perryman. Couldn't get a clearing kick. Spills to Cornelio. He drops it onto his boot. There's nowhere to go as Tom Green lays the tackle. The umpire let it go for a long time. Eventually, it did come off Taylor Adams and out towards O'Halloran. Left half forward, squeeze the kick inside 50. A bouncing ball. High tackle from Jordan Agoe. And the resulting shot on goal is about to come. As Peatling was taken high, he'll line up slightly left of centre, kicking from about 40 metres out.
Actually, some clever little work there from the stoppage by the Giants, just to knock the ball on, kick it forward, just get some yardage, and then smart little chip kick inside 50 and nice little draw the free of high there, sort of Joel Selwood like.
Mark Murphy like.
The 22-year-old James Peatley hasn't kicked a goal so far this season, looking to open proceedings at the MCG from right on 50. Head face to the left-hand side and a minor score through the opening 2 minutes the way of the Giants.
Here's another success story, James Peatley, now to the mid-season draft, which we've seen the last couple of years. John Noble, another one of those, coming up in a few weeks' time. Here's Nick Dacos, plays on from the kick out, went to take a bounce, didn't quite come back to him. Hurried handball to Quaynor, kicks off the back flank, up to the wing. Hand on it from Johnson for the Magpies. Down towards the Giants in Whitfield, he's tackled, dispossessed. Johnson sockers it through traffic to the advantage of Adams. Hand pass to side bottom, handball to Cox. Squeeze the kick down to half forward. Kelly there for GWS. Hand pass to Perryman, pulls the trigger inboard on the 45. Lockie Ash takes the mark. He plays on immediately. Here they go on the handball again. To Haynes. Handball heads away towards Cornelio. He tries to take a bounce in the tackle. Ump gives him the benefit of the doubt. Got it away to Tom Green. Kicks in the middle of the ground to centre half forward. Turns it over. More to Quaynor to side bottom. And now a hand pass out wide to Markov off the back flank for Collingwood.
Looks up the members wing where Taylor Adams offers a lead. He marks on his chest. He's got Ash Johnson over the top. Chips it towards half forward. Mychek's deep. Trying to work it over the top to Elliott. Great smother from Buckley. He sees it out of play for the Giants. Right half forward for the Magpies. Giants by a point through the opening 3 minutes.
Just a bit lazy there from Ash Johnson. He had 2 or 3 guys sitting over and top in the forward 50. Need to get back off the mark a bit quicker. Just trying to poke it over the top to Jamie Elliott. Good defensive work by Jack Buckley.
So no finals the last 2 years for GWS, but still a heap of top-end talent. 11 first-round picks playing today, and 7 of those top 10 in their respective drafts as from the boundary throw-in side bottom sweeps a hand pass forward and Bobby Hill's tackled. Playing his 50th game today, Bobby Hill. Of course, it's against GWS. In his new colours, of course, having played every game this year for the Magpies. And the ball up. Comes down GWS's way to Kelly. Hand pass away to Ash. He gives it to Tom Green. Kick smothered. Close to the boundary line. Ash tries to spoil it. Stays alive. Half forward for the Pies. Side bottom. Hand pass to Chris. He gives it to Hill. Hill to Dacos out from the pocket. Bounces it through. And what a start to Collingwood's round 9 fixture. In his 50th game, Bobby Hill bends one through from the pocket. First goal of the game. A highlight reel one for Bobby Hill. 1 straight 6 to 1 behind. 4.5 minutes in. Pies by 5.
Well, Bobby Hill take a bow. It looked like he wanted to centre it, and then the Giants defender came in and was easily going to smother him. So the only option left was to do a little dribble from the right hand forward pocket and just nailed it perfectly. Just end over end was a beautiful little dribble in the end from a little forward specialist there in Bobby Hill. But it was a forward pressure before that, Lids, which drew the error. There's a smother kick from Giants sort of trying to over-handball it deep inside their deep 50. They need to try and get some yardage out of that deep 50 rather than handball it too much.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. You mentioned Nick Haynes. He did well to corral him and then watches it trickle through the major opening. Has kicked a goal in his last 3 games, Bobby Hill. So Collingwood small forwards, he and Jamie Elliott. Jack Ginnivan late in the side, haven't really been hitting the scoreboard that much. Flynn up against Cox, but it's Collingwood through to Goey, who gets the clearance. Hand pass to Mitchell inside 50. Elliott flies against 2 Giants, brings it down for Collingwood. Hand pass to Adams, back to Elliott, to the goal square looking for Johnson. Racing back, it's rushed through for a minor score. It was Cameron Fleeton on debut. He got a hand to it to see it through for a minor score. Collingwood 1-1-7 to the Giants, 1 behind through 6 minutes in the opening term. Here's Corporate Middlemass.
No late change, so Darcy Moore's there. Despite that infected elbow, Noble, despite the corked thigh, and DeGoey having not trained during the week, but all playing for Collingwood. As Whitfield brings it into Haynes, who marks at half-back. He goes on a bit of a jog. Kicks a long ball towards Hogan on that southern wing. He flies for the footy, no mark. Falls down to Quaynor, didn't dispose of it correctly, and Quaynor's going to get the free kick after laying the tackle on Hogan. Collingwood back with it. They keep it in their front half. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Heads to half forward. Turns it over. And Ash with the intercept mark. Lockie Ash. He's one of those 7 top 10 picks playing today for GWS. Taken at pick 4 in his draft. Good shep boy. He goes short along the boundary line to it. Another first round pick in Angwin. Ryan Angwin in game number 5.
From Foster, Gippsland way. Here on the MCG at right half back. Sends it long up the wing towards Flynn and Hogan, and spoiled down by Darcy Moore. Flynn gets the hand pass away to Daniels, feeds it inboard to Tom Green. He hacks a long kick forward in the direction of Cadman, in a wrestle with Markov. Markov tried to throw a boot at it. Quaynor comes rushing back. Murphy got down low. Cadman tries to wrestle it out for the Giants. It's stuck underneath all of them. And a ball up in the right forward pocket for the Giants. Punt road end. Collingwood 1-1-7 to the Giants, 1 behind.
Free kick here for a hold in the ruck contest, and Cox had his jumper tugged illegally, said the umpire, as the ball was chucked in the air, and Mason Cox to take the free. Short to Moore. Top of the defensive goal square, the Collingwood captain. Wearing his dad's number, of course, Peter Moore, a Brownlow medalist at 2 different clubs, Collingwood and Melbourne. He goes long out to half-back. Cox has worked up the ground and takes the pack mark. Moves it on immediately to Josh Dacos. Hand pass away along the southern boundary line to Hoskin Elliott. Feeds it to Myercheck. Looks inboard and to Goey at full stretch. Marks in front of the logo. Southern wing. He draws them out on the mark in Perryman. Kicks it deep into the pocket. Johnson caught at the back. Worked his way to the front around Iden. And Ash Johnson marks 25 metres out against the fence. Left forward pocket.
And a good linking play there from the Pies coming forward from there. Basically back pocket, wasn't it, Murph?
It was
great grab by Mason Cox.
It was really impressive because they were slowed up in a big way, and then Mason Cox took a big mark and then got speed on the ball again with a little quick handball to Dacos and got him out the back.
So Ash Johnson, tight angle, kicks the drop punt. It's across the goal face. And in the end, whacked over the line by Buckley. In fact, it was already over the line. So out of bounds on the full. Free kick for the Giants. No change to that score, Clinchy. Collingwood 1-1, GWS 1 behind. 9 minutes in, no late change.
So the Giants look to bring it long out of defence through Buckley. Sends it in the direction of Cadman and Flynn. Cadman had a lot of it, has eventually paid the mark. The number 1 draft pick, Aaron Cadman, who had to wait his opportunity at the AFL level, takes a good mark at left half back to build his confidence. Around the members' wing, looking for Lloyd, can't take the mark. Spoiled away from him in the end by his own teammate Perryman. Pendlebury socks it in the middle of the ground. Adams to Nick Dacos, great pickup. Kicks inside 50. Hoskin Elliott running back with a fly. A free kick going Collingwood's way. And is it Hoskin Elliott or Elliott who's going to end up with it?
Was it a push after the kick?
In from the side came Brown. It wasn't a lot on Nick Dacos, it must be said. It didn't influence the kick. And Collingwood are going to end up with a shot on goal, and Will Hoskin Elliott won the battle. He gets the footy.
No, it was a bit of a glancing blow on Nick Dacos, but can't touch him.
Kicked a goal last week. Will Hoskin Elliott, good off the boot, steers it straight through the middle. Collingwood with the opening 2 goals of the match here at the MCG. They're 2-1-13 to the Giants, 1 behind. 10 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport. You're with Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
It was a silly hit, wasn't it, really? Like, I know there wasn't much in it, but there was no need for it. I know we want to put pressure on the ball carrier and probably make Nick Dacos earn it, but, I mean, what's that going to do? But what I want to highlight is Tay Adams, his hands to get it up. Scott Pendlebury, clever little toe poke, but Taylor Adams, lightning, wasn't he? And had Dacos streaming past. It was a perfect kick. Take your pick, Hoskin Elliott or Jamie Elliott. Jamie's probably got to call Hosco into that one, I reckon. Usual small forward thinking, I'm getting one here. He's been a bit lean the last couple of weeks, Jamie Elliott, so he would have been licking his lips.
And Xavier O'Halloran's alongside Nick Dacos, which doesn't look like a hard tag.
Just trying to do his best, I think.
Back in the middle, comes down to Cornelio, centre break for the Giants. Hooks a kick down to half forward, unkind bounce for Hogan. Moore went without it, gets a second go, centre half back, hand pass to Nick Dacos. Clean kick out of the defensive arc, wanted Ginnivan. Brown spoils over the back, up says play on. Comes down to Peatling, gee, that's not his best effort. Slides off his left peg and side bottom able to scoop up the loose ball. Short kick to Pendlebury. How often have we seen those two combine over the years? And side bottom closing in on 300 games. And Pendlebury comes wide to Noble. He's given right up until game time with that corked thigh, but he's out there and playing. He shares it with Pendlebury. And now Noble goes long to a one-on-one. Ginnivan caught at the back and wrestling with Brown. And Kellen Brown's going to get the free, the Irishman. At half-back for the Giants. 2-goal lead for Collingwood. They've got the opening couple of the game, 12 minutes in.
The Category B rookie chips it over the top and finds Josh Kelly, the acting captain this afternoon, in Toby Green's absence. Back to centre half back to Lockie Ash. He wants to switch it out to Iden, who marks it right half back. They haven't managed to work it forward until now. Out to Haynes on the southern wing. He plays on as Elliott off his chase. It's a high searching kick to half forward, asking O'Halloran to try and make something of it. He can't do so, but he does follow up with a good tackle, with Markov having the footy locked to his chest. A ball up 60 metres out from the Giants' goal at the punt road end. Collingwood by 12 points. Umpire tosses it up. Cox up against Himmelberg. Wins down the tap for Collingwood. Mitchell to Crisp. There's nowhere to go. Good tackle late in the end by Toby Benford. Locks the ball in the former D at right half forward for the Giants.
Third game for his new club. Making the move in the off-season. Mason Cox grabs it out of the ruck. Just hacks it forward for Collingwood. And Haynes pushes off Hoskin Elliott. Takes the intercept mark. The GWS. Across the ground to Brown. It's not a bad crowd in for a late game on a Monday, but...
Sunday, even.
Sorry, late game. Oh, my God. It feels like it's already Monday. It's late game on a Sunday, but it's almost like a cricket crowd. It's very sort of calm and quiet early. There's Brown to Ash and then swings it all the way out to Peatling. Back to flank. He's kicked another horrible. One off the left peg now, one off the right as it skids away to Crisp. Hand pass wanted, Ginnivan copped a corky on the way through. Elliott wins it, turns it over to Tom Green under pressure. Hand pass to Ash. Hacks a kick forward of halfway. Cox went without it. Peatling wins it.
Hand pass to O'Halloran, who draws a kick inside 50 along the turf to Hogan, who couldn't get to it. Darcy Moore over the top, spills away of Daniels, trying to rip it clear for the Giants. Hand pass came from Lord to Cornelio around the body, only as far as Josh Dacos. Knocks 15, sends a wobbly kick back up the wing, and Mason Cox takes the mark. Not sure it was purely intended for Big Mason, but he claims the mark out in front of Bobby Hill. That's a beautiful kick. And Hill didn't have to break stride. Looks up inside 50, runs the boundary. Hand pass out in front of Kelly. Back onto it, into the pocket, looking for Elliott. Iden spoils it away across the boundary line and lets Bobby Hill know about it.
I love that. He's looked at Chook and said, I think I've got you. I think I've got you, mate. So just a little handball out in front.
Jess Webster on the boundary.
Jack Ginnivan has just headed into the Pies rooms with the doctors. He came off limping. It looked like a right leg injury, so I will keep you updated when I know more.
Thanks, Jess. Johnson doing the ruck work, knocked it down to Myercheck, had one arm held and dropped it on his boot, tried to kick a drop kick. In the end, he volleys it out of play on the full. Free kick, GWS.
I thought Jess was going to tell us that James Peatling's come down and torched those boots. He's thrown them away. They're no good.
A couple of shockers, one off either leg as Brown takes the free and goes wide with the kick to Lloyd, who marks at half-back. Daniel Lloyd with it for GWS. 15 minutes in. No late change. Reef McInnes, Cal Ward, the two subs. Collingwood by 12. Long kick down the line from Lloyd. G. Hogan trying to take the juggled mark, and in the end he's tackled and going to be pinned for a throw. Ray Chamberlain, who's been waiting all weekend for his opportunity as well, Lids, he's ready to get involved, and he's
Yeah.
He's pinned
dubious one.
He's pinned Hogan there for a throw. So Johnson goes short to Maynard.
Not 15, so he's involved again. The kick to half forward to go. He's outmanoeuvred, and the mark taken by Whitfield for the Giants. Hand pass to Cornelio through traffic. Callahan to Himmelberg. Feeds it forward to O'Halloran. Quick kick forward to Cadman. Can't take it. Murphy dropped the mark. Cadman onto it. Can't get boots the ball. Somehow gets the hand pass clear. Bedford bounces off the tackler. O'Halloran's hand pass. Gets it forward. And Callahan eventually finishes the work. Jeez, that was hard. And the Giants finally have their first goal through 15 minutes in the opening term. 1-1-7 to Collingwood 2-1-13. And on the end of it, finally able to finish the work was Finn Callahan for his first goal of the season.
Well, just some good one-on-one contests there, but overall, Liz, it was just work rate and the want to get forward hard and try and outnumber. Xavier O'Halloran was involved in 2 or 3 occasions.
Yep.
Didn't get the 2 or 3 disposals. I think it was maybe 1, but it was just knock-ons. The scheme there was another body, another opportunity to handball too. But it was a run and gun where it firstly started from a great one-on-one contest from Lockie Whitfield against Jordan DeGoey in the air, who you probably think that DeGoey would have him covered,
Out
but
of his weight division, yeah.
Just outbodied him at the right time, and then it was just a handball run and gun show. So it was a really good work rate by the Giants mids and forwards to create some space and be there and support for one another and handball the ball forward, and great goal.
Xavier O'Halloran, of course, a former skipper at underage level of Vic Metro. First round pick a couple of years back now from the restart back in the middle. Hurried kick going forward for GWS as Hogan bangs it out the centre half forward. A hand pass away to O'Halloran right on cue as he shoots goalward but misses. And behind from Xavier O'Halloran. So 1-2 to 2-1. It's Collingwood by 5 points, but all of a sudden a few centre clearances for the Giants. We're 17 minutes in on Grandstand AFL.
Thought you almost scripted that. You almost made it work. Quain all long out of defence for Collingwood. Up towards Johnson. Spoiled down. Nick Dacos to side bottom. Got it to DeGoey. Great kick. Vision into the middle of the ground for Crisp. Out in front of him. Chips it to Myercheck, who leads up at him. And marks directly in front, 50 out. He's got Bobby Hill in the pocket, and they want to give it to him. In his 50th game against his former side, he marks in the right forward pocket and a chance to kick his second.
Well, they all fell off Geordie DeGoey there, didn't they? You'd been watching Scotty Pendlebury do it for ages. But how often does Jack Crisp get out with no one in front of him, just in front of the centre circle? Just a happy knack of running through there, and they seem to know he's there all the time. Well lowered the eyes to Myercheck, and a good unselfish play to Bobby Hill in the pocket.
Only about 15 metres out in the right forward pocket. Steps out, snaps on his left, and he has 2. Turns to the Collingwood fans and says, come on, get up. And he's trying to bring the energy in this opening term. 18 minutes gone. Bobby Hill with 2 of Collingwood's first 3 goals of the match. They're 3-1-19 to the Giants 1-2-8. On ABC Sport, you're Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Well, they're just so good at just energising off half-back, aren't they? You look down there at the moment, you've got Noble, Crisp, Quaynor, Moore, and they just continually just run and provide options, and sometimes they don't get the ball, but they drag an opponent out of the way. And on that occasion, we've seen a couple of times today just the run off half-back and just the vision from any Collingwood player to look inboard. They just continually look inboard where the quickest route home forward, and there's always someone there, and they just back themselves in till they hit it by hand or by foot, and it's great to watch.
There's a lot of people in Western Sydney weren't too happy that Bobby Hill wanted to get out of there. He obviously made attempts the year before, eventually got his trade, and he looks extra motivated today to have an impact, Bobby Hill, as Collingwood work it out of the middle again. Nick Dacos, hand pass to centre half forward for Pendlebury. Kicks into the pocket. Jamie Elliott juggled mark, got it. The opposite pocket from where Hill goaled moments ago. The chance to drive home more pain on the scoreboard here, the Magpies.
That's again, isn't it, Murph, that ability just to flick the ball, have the multitude of runners going past. Good composure in the air, nice little touch kick over the top.
Hooks it around, through for a goal. And the Magpies are rolling. 4 goals to 1 to start the game. We're only 20 minutes in. Collingwood 4-1-25, GWS 1-2-8. There's a 17-point lead for Collingwood. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Good news for the Pies. Jack Ginnivan's good to go. Just copped a knock to the knee. He's been assessed and he's ready to come back out onto the field.
Just watch it. It's almost like Scotty Pendlebury and Nick Dacos have played about 10 years of football together. They just always know where one another are on the field, and very rarely does Nick Dacos on that occasion, he was the one giving it to Pendlebury, but they just know where each other are. It's actually impressive to watch.
So what's that? Is that football IQ?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it definitely is, because they just understand each other's game already so well, and that's why it's looked like they've been playing together for such a long period of time.
You also know that they're not going to bugger it up when they give it to them,
and they're pretty good with the ball in hand, yeah.
It's a great pick-up, Murph, and Scott Pendlebury, at 35 years of age, thinks he's still got plenty of footy to go. Flynn gets the clearance for the Giants. Half pass to Cornelia, kicks towards half forward. Daniels tries to slap it forward to the advantage of Peatling. Side bottom slides in for Collingwood. Half pass pinballs off a couple, and then Mitchell gives it to Quaynor, who turns it straight over. Mark taking it right half forward for GWS as they work it through Cornelio, who got it from Perryman, and then short to Kelly right on 50.
No, he's certainly got this in his leg, doesn't he, Lids?
It'll take his best. You don't see a lot of guys bang them through from outside 50. The other end, I reckon, more conducive.
You're going to start
downhill?
Yeah, I reckon it is, 100%.
Averaging just under 30 disposals this season, as the acting captain would love a long-range goal. He's got underneath it. It's right to the goal line. Murphy's there. Hands to it. Trying to soccer it through for the Giants is Cadman. He's now over the footy, and the umpire will ball it up. What's that? 2 metres out from the Giants' goal at the Punt Road end.
Should have used the arch.
Played here a few times.
Do you reckon?
Who are you to question him, Corby?
I certainly didn't question him. Here's Cox, wins the tap, straight down, and the pack forms at his feet. Oh, and Razor Ray says, I'll have it. So ball up right in the goal scope for the Giants. Do you reckon 150's longer than the other Lids?
No, I don't. I just think the win certainly favours the other end.
Cox won it down, but straight by Halloran hooks it through for a goal. Had to pass a number of hands. Cox claimed that he touched it on the way through. And they're going to go upstairs to check it without doubt. Razor Ray gets his hands on the Sharon. And the soft call is that it was touched. Mason Cox reacted straight away.
I think it's off Braden Maynard, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, definitely. You can see his fingers bend back.
Well, that was a very swift review. So behind as called on the spot. The Arcs happy with that. And a behind for GWS off the boot, Xavier O'Halloran. So 1-3 to 4-1. 23 minutes in, Collingwood by 16.
Corbin Middlemass, Matt Lynch, Jess Webster, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you for Sunday Twilight Footy, the final match of round 9 from the MCG. Darcy Moore with the headband on, kicks Collingwood long out of defence, up towards Johnson. Flynn spoils it down. Tom Mitchell front and centre for the Pies. Kicks to a vacant half-forward line, where the easy mark is taken for Buckley on his chest for the Giants. He turns and chips it back to Connor Iden inside the defensive 50 as he looks to switch it. Callahan takes the mark. The Giants goal scorer so far, they're 1-3-9 to Collingwood 4-1-25. Now opens up play out onto the southern side. Whitfield marks. How past the Perryman, too slow. Tackled by Crisp. Collingwood take it back on the wing. Just a little bit slow to react in the end, and it was good tackle, good timing from Jack Crisp, who wins it back for the Magpies. They lead by 16 points.
Game 197 in a row for Jack Crisp. Heads down to half forward. Buckley knocks it away for GWS. Tom Green, a few little fumbles, put himself under the pump. In to win it, Pendlebury. He's tackled, somehow got a kick away. Bobby Hill's onto it, still at half forward. Hand pass to Johnson, kicks inside 50. Angwin spoils for the Giants, down into the path of Perryman. He kicks out of the defensive 50, bouncing ball up to the wing. Murphy for Collingwood, hand pass to Noble, kicks across the ground, and Maynard just takes the mark in front of Daniels. And the pair of them just collide legs in that marking contest, and Maynard just gets up a little slowly. He's okay right in the middle of the G.
The All-Australian from last year is the only Pie. There might be a few more this year. Long towards Mason Cox. Couldn't take the mark. Ash read it best. Off the back of the pack for the Giants. Not a great kick. Turns it over. Hoskin Elliott marks.
Yeah, it was a risky kick, Clinchy, but he didn't really have many other options. His only other option was to bang it as long as he could out here to the wing. That was so well covered off by Markov on Peatling. They just set up the ground so well, don't they, Collingwood?
Hoskin Elliott slightly right of centre, shooting for 45 metres out for his second. He might not have the journey as it cannons into the left behind post and out of bounds on the full. No change to the score. Collingwood by 16 points. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. I'm so glad I downloaded the ABC Listen app. This is my second time listening to your commentary of the Pies, and I love it. It's refreshing to listen to a fantastic call with insightful experts. Best on the air. They're here every Sunday, Murph and Lids.
They're the messages we love as Buckley heads out to half-back. The side bottom pushed off it. Tom Green wins it. Goes with a 1-2 handball to Lloyd, and then Tom Green has it knocked out of his hands. It's like a basketball steal as side bottom knocks it out of play, and a boundary throw in between wing and half-forward for the Pies.
And Rory from Reservoir, a blind listener. We always try to paint the picture for our visually impaired audience. So sun setting in about an hour's time, so the floodlights are on. That'll take over the Giants in the orange stripe and the white shorts, and Collingwood in their traditional black and white with the black shorts.
16-point lead for Collingwood as we tick towards quarter time for the boundary throw-in. Side bottom to Pendlebury's tackled immediately. A ball up on that southern wing. And the early game clinchy, just 2 on this Mother's Day Sunday of round 9. Adelaide by 52 points, full-time over St Kilda.
You described it as a cricket crowd. It's certainly a parochial black and white crowd as side bottom kicks inside 50. Myercheck flies, can't take the mark. Mitchell front and centre, hand pass to DeGoey. Over the top to Noble, 60 from home. Into the pocket, can't quite clear. As the mark is taken by Ryan Angwin in the left back pocket for the Giants. Swings it to Callaghan, gets the hand pass away to Ash. Sends it up to the southern wing. Himmelberg's all on his own. He marks a couple of metres in from the boundary. Now trying to work how the Giants can transition from the wing to half forward. Lloyd leads up at him. He honours that with a kick out in front of him. Comes inboard to Callaghan. Just forward of the AFL logo on the southern side. Looking to send the Giants inside 50. Hogan's deepest. Sends it in that direction. Cox in from the side. Can't take the mark. Gathered by Bedford. Noble lays the tackle. And the footy's locked just 45 metres out from the Giants' goal. Mason Cox going for the chest mark. Game number 98 for him. We spoke to him on the lead on Saturday. Family coming out to from the US for his 100.
His biggest interview I think he's done, Clinchy, in the last couple of weeks. There's no doubt about that as Cox palms it down. There's a free kick here for Noble as he's tackled high. Defensive arc for Collingwood. Hand pass away to Nick Dacos, who's had it on a string again. He kicks out wide. G. Brown in the box seat spills it and then soccers it out on the full inadvertently. Had an uncontested mark, couldn't take it, and then dropped it onto his shoe, and it, of course, ballooned over the boundary line and out on the full. It's a free kick for Jack Ginnivan, his first of the game. Goes short to DeGoey. Still on the wing, members side. Weighted hand pass to Maynard. Sold him straight into trouble. He's tackled, dispossessed. Brown wins it back for GWS. Hand pass to Himmelberg. Himmelberg through traffic to Daniels. Still at half forward. Hand pass to Tom Green. Kicks it out in front of Hogan. He reels it in with the left hand. Beautiful pass as you outlined, Lids. And Jesse Hogan able to just reel it in with the left mid.
No, it was a perfect kick because Darcy Moore was sitting out in front of the leading lane, so the only option that Tom Green had was to put it over Darcy Moore's back shoulder and let Jesse Hogan run onto it, and it was just a beautifully weighted kick.
Multiple goals in all bar one game this year, having a good season so far. Hogan to start his day, pops it through. The man's a goal kicker. Number 17 for the year for Jesse Hogan. And cuts Collingwood's lead to 10. The Magpies 4-1-25, GWS 2-3-15. 28 minutes into the opening term on Grandstand AFL. Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio.
Well, I reckon Braden Maynard will think twice about trying to run through Toby Bedford. There's a reason why they did pursue him so much to be in that forward 50, to add that forward pressure. He's quick, but he's also tough. You know, he brought it down. Great tackle. The umpire was about to blow his whistle. They saw the Giants were about to get onto it. Tom Green, as you mentioned, he's going to be one of, if not the best midfielder in the game in the next couple of years, in my opinion. So big and mobile, but tough as well. Can win a lot of contested footy. And with touch kicks like that, he can become a very, very good player.
Could be the best midfielder in the game.
Mate, he's very young at the moment.
Yeah, no, I like it. High ceiling, 22 years of age.
Back in the middle, Flynn went down the tap for the Giants, but it's Segoe who read it best. Gets the hand pass to Taylor Adams, forward to Mitchell, pokes it into the pocket. Ginnivan can't hang on to the mark, back onto it, snaps across his body and puts it through. Jack Ginnivan on the board, and Collingwood with the immediate response, back to 16 points. 5-1-31 to the Giants, 2-3-15. And Murph, the part that would be concerning Adam Kingsley, 10 clearances to 5. The way of Collingwood in the opening quarter.
Yeah, I was just about to make mention of that. The middle is so important. We know that. We talk about it every week, but the clearance work, especially out of the centre square bounce, is vitally important. They just didn't get it right there, and then there was a few little defensive breakdowns from the Giants pressing when they probably didn't need a press. It was a great little ball in by Jordan Goey and great dish out to Taylor Adams, and then they just worked the ball out by hand and just kicked one over the top where I think, I'm not sure who it was that came forward to try and intercept, but got to stay back on your man there.
Cox back in the middle, wins the hit out, but straight down to Canelio. Hand pass to Tom Green, gets the break for the Giants to centre half forward. Himmelberg and Hogan both in the pack. It spills off the pack though to Daniels. Half forward for GWS, hands it back to Callahan. He eyes the sticks, kicks his long left footer goalward, but misses to the near side. But the number one score from centre bounce team in the competition the last 2 years, Collingwood. They've kicked 2 goals out of the middle already today. That behind cuts the Pies lead to 15. Half-hour mark opening term.
They're so great at providing a lot of shape out of their centre square bounces too, Collingwood. They don't just get it and kick it, they actually work it out by hands.
John Noble with a great kick into Mason Cox, who leads to half-back and at full stretch takes the mark in front of the Collingwood fans in the Olympic stand. The Category B rookie who made his debut on Anzac Day back in 2016. Around the members' wing, Elliott brought it down in the pack to Goey front and centre. Hand pass to Johnson, back to Elliott. Shares it with the Goey at right half forward. Kicks inside 50. Ginnivan can't take the mark. It spoils the way of Iden. Ginnivan knocks it on to Bobby Hill. Can't get a disposal away. Haynes trying to knock it clear. The siren sounds just as Collingwood were threatening for a 6th goal of the quarter. They're 5-1-31, the black and white. To the Giants, 2-4-16. The margin is 15 points at quarter time. With Collingwood kicking the opening 2 goals of the match and taking control of this contest with their small forwards able to get on the board early. For the Magpies, 2 goals to Bobby Hill, individuals to Elliott, Hoskin, Elliott and Ginnivan. While for the Giants, their 2 goals have come through Finn Callahan and Jesse Hogan. Quarter time at the MCG, Collingwood leading by 15 points. Earlier today, it was the Adelaide Crows winners by 52 points, 19-7-121 to the Saints 10-9-69. They kicked 6 goals in the first quarter, 4 of which were the first 4 goals of the match. And they had 12 individual goal kickers, the Adelaide Crows, in which Taylor Walker led the way with 5. Great to have your company on Sunday afternoon footy. This is Grandstand AFL.
Your fortune awaits. Please sit down. You desire connection to your community, to be abreast of events and up to date at all times. In your future, I see the ABC Listen app. I see you up to date with current affairs, politics, and the latest conversations on your local ABC radio station. Your reading is complete. Put that filthy money away. The ABC Listen app is as free as a bird. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Half forward for the Pies, side bottom, hand pass to Chris. He gives it to Hill. Hill, the Dacos sandwich from the pocket. Bounces it through. And what a start to Collingwood's round 9 fixture. In his 50th game, Bobby Hill bends one through from the pocket.
Chips it to Myercheck, who leads up at him. And marks directly in front, 50 out. He's got Bobby Hill in the pocket, and they want to give it to him. In his 50th game against his former side, he marks in the right forward pocket and a chance to kick his second. Only about 15 metres out in the right forward pocket, steps out, snaps on his left, and he has 2. Turns to the Collingwood fans and says, come on, get up.
As Collingwood work it out of the middle again, Nick Dacos, hand pass to centre half forward for Pendlebury, kicks into the pocket, Jamie Elliott, juggled mark, got it. Hooks it around, through for a goal. And the Magpies are rolling. Still at half forward, hand pass to Tom Green, kicks it out in front of Hogan, he reels it in. Multiple goals in all bar 1 game this year, having a good season so far. Hogan, to start his day, pops it through, and there's a goal kicker.
Pokes it into the pocket, Ginnivan, hang on to the mark, back onto it, snaps across his body, and puts it through. Jack Ginnivan on the board, and Collingwood with the immediate response.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Quarter time at the MCG. It's Collingwood who lead by 15 points. All good, thanks, Murph. You're a team player. 5-1-31 to the Giants, 2-4-16. The team player in our box is Mark Murphy, alongside Brett Delidio. I'm Matt Clinch and Corbin Minimas with Jess Webster down on the boundary. Pretty entertaining opening term for Collingwood. It was their small forwards who were on the board. Here's Brett Delidio.
Yeah, I was talking at the start of the game with whether we're going to see a full 4-quarter performance. Now, we've seen the first quarter from Collingwood. You know, I believe that they're one, if not number 2 in the comp, being the best team. I know that's where they sit on the ladder, but when their best footy is going, they are one of the best to watch. But they haven't done it for a full four quarters yet, Murph. So today they've started off really well, but more often than not in the weeks gone by that we've done their games, they've taken the foot off the pedal a little bit and allowed teams to get a bit more of a run on. They haven't been able to maintain what they've been able to do. So today I'm looking for them just to say they're getting out so easily at the moment. Like they're pulling the Giants apart completely. And I get that the Giants are quite young. They're missing some experience, but that'll be Adam Kingsley at the moment will be really revving his charges, saying, boys, we're breaking down with our fundamentals defensively. We're not winning it at the source, and then we're getting pulled apart far too easily, and we're trading up ridiculously. And what I mean by that is that blokes are leaving. This is what you spoke about with the centre bounce. We're leaving our opponent to go and apply pressure, but it's just going over the top, creating the goosey goal out the back.
Yeah, and I know a lot of sides, I agree with you, I know a lot of sides now always, the mantra is come forward to defend, but if you can't make an impact on that player, then there's no point coming forward to try and defend, especially when you're coming out of a centre square bounce, and that's where Collingwood are playing really well at the moment. They're leading the clearance work in 10-6 against the Giants, and if you are going to come forward to defend out of a centre square bounce, you're just going to get hurt, and they've been hurt a couple of times doing that. But I think their pressure has been okay so far, the Giants, but when they have pressured really well, they've scored on the back of it. So that's the blueprint for them, is to try and match it, if not beat them inside around the contest, and then our pressure, let's just get out the pies and try and force an error, because they're so good. If you're sitting back as a player for the Giants today, then Collingwood are going to touch you up with their hands, because they're so methodical in the way in which they use their hands. They basically almost play like a rugby run, and handball it from centre back, and then once they do get shoulders out, and then they use it by foot really well to their forwards. So, well, they're so dangerous forward, aren't they? But then they've also got so many numbers through the midfield. So who do you focus all your attention on? Well, you can't just do it on one guy, because you'll get you so many different ways. The Goey's had 9, Mitchell 9, Sidebottom 8, Dacos 7, Adam 6, you know. And whereas usually with the Giants, it's either Kelly, Canelio or Tom Green that are going to do most of the damage.
On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Scott Pendlebury were awesome in those Boxing Day sales. The opening doors stampedes here with just swift drift through the pack, and now that discounted cashmere jumper. That's from Ruley in Adelaide. Not bad work there. Andy Wodonga says second that. A couple of the best experts going around with Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio. And I'm reasonably sure when the Lions play Essendon at home, Joe Danaher will be booed. Not ideal, but average Don supporters like me will be forever bitter.
What about you, Corb? I'll cheer Joe.
I was giving him a pause to jump in. Second quarter underway. It's the Giants who are going to get a free kick in the middle. Perryman was tackled. We're not in possession. Hand pass to Canelio, almost run down. Got the hand pass away as McCreary came late. Hand pass away to Josh Kelly, who feels it away to Fleeton. On to Boo, inside 50. Fleeton flies, can't take the mark. Hogan over his shoulder. Can't quite link up with Peatling or Halloran, and it goes out of play for a boundary throw-in.
You were actually pretty rare, Lids. You got cheered by the Richmond guys even when you left. You didn't get booed too much, did you?
Well, I didn't touch it, so they couldn't boo me.
No, very self-deprecating. But you were always very well loved by the Tigers fans, even after you moved on.
Oh, some of them on socials weren't as pleasant.
He really likes it when you come up to him on the train making your way to the G. Here's a chance for Whitfield. He's tackled. Fleeton tries to knock it on. Tom Green can't have it as he's ragdolled by McCreary. He's able to squeeze a kick forward to Flynn. Half pass to Whitfield. Cannon into McCreary. Kick inside 50. No mark. Peatley's the crummer. Snaps across his body and misses to the right-hand side. Opening score of the second quarter behind through a minute and 10 seconds. Collingwood by 14 points.
Darcy Moore's wasting no time. Plays on from the kick out. Hand pass to Noble. Short kick to Josh Dacos. Marks at half back. Pulls the trigger back inboard to Moore. Gee, it just got to him in time. He marks in front of Cadman. I like to think that as the number one picks that both of you are, that you guys are all in one big group text and you hang out and talk to Aaron Cadman about how he's going and dealing with the pressure of being the number one pick as Moore goes back to Murphy and then to Quaynor, and Quaynor kicks up to McCreary, who marks on the wing. A short kick to Sidebottom. A couple of number one picks out there. Of course, Lockie Whitfield also went one in his respective draft. Sidebottom to Cox. Could see it coming a mile away as he just drifted his large frame to centre half forward and takes a towering mark And the American Pie can shoot from right on 50.
I'm not sure what happened to Matty Flynn there. Just got caught out. Mason Cox going forward, but what it speaks to me is how much the Giants miss Sammy Taylor in their side. Geordie DeGoey just sniffing around for a little handball receive.
It was a smart kick in the end. I won't call it a shank, but I think Flynn was boundary side of Mason Cox, expecting it to go there. But as we know with Collingwood, they play more aggressive and put it corridor side of him.
It's a little longer trying to kick 50 at this end of the ground, but Mason Cox makes it look easy. Just dobs it straight over the goal umpire with ease. And Collingwood kicked the first goal of the second term. 6-1 to 2-5. Collingwood by 20 points. 3 played second quarter.
Well, it was as casual as you like. And Mason Cox is a beautiful kick from probably 20 to 40. Very rarely do you see him go back from outside the arc and put it through like that. But it was almost like there was a trampoline on into that boot. It just ambled up and put it about 10-15 metres beyond the big sticks.
Line, yeah. He smacked it, didn't he? But it was such an easy kick. I remember I tell a lot of kids about
just even the celebration, then just like stood there and just pointed through and gave a thumbs up.
Yep.
Craig McRae enjoyed it on the bench. He was chuckling. So Collingwood the opening goal of the second quarter, and Cox stays in the ruck. Tom Green gets the clearance of the Giants. Hand pass to Cornelio. Kicks inside 50 towards Hogan, who tries to bring it down. 1-2 with Daniel. Hogan hand pass straight to Nick Dacos. Hand passes for Collingwood to Pendlebury. Trying to link up with Josh Dacos. Callahan went up for the Giants. Couldn't clear it. Josh Dacos back to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Noble to Nick Dacos in the back pocket. Kicks to brother Josh. Beautiful combination. Could they be in the same All-Australian side at season's end? He comes inboard to Mitchell. He marks at the back edge of the centre square. Spears it out to Maynard at left half back. Now kicks up towards half forward. Over the head of Cox. Through the hands of Finn. To Jamie Elliott. To Ash Johnson, who leads out and marks on his chest. Wasn't a lot of body contact from the Irishman, Callum Brown. And Collingwood travelling downhill. The kick to Ash Johnson hit him perfectly on the chest.
Well, they look methodical, don't they, when they're going forward with their ball movement. As I said before, at quarter time, they're just picking apart the Giants. That was just a great execution right from the back pocket or back flank all the way to their forward line.
Doesn't get a lot of the footy, but has a goal in every game he's played. 45-degree angle, 20 metres out. Ash Johnson joins the Magpie goal kickers. And the Pies lead by 20 points, the biggest lead of the match. There's 7-1-43 to the Giants, 2-5-17. 2 unanswered goals Collingwood's way in the opening 5 minutes of the second quarter.
Well, the more you sit here and watch Collingwood, you don't get a real understanding for how well they're using the football at the moment. Unless you sit here and go, well, by hand, they're so clever, they're so smart at creating space for one another. By foot, they just execute really well. That last passage of play, Lids, there was probably 4 or 5 handballs, and then it was Nick Dacos who, rather than just banging under pressure down the line, just an extra half a second to have that composure to see his brother Josh about 25 yards in front of him. And then it was the change of angles, and then the Giants were just caught out across the ground. And just the ability to see that first option and hit it is so underutilised and so well done by Collingwood.
Hard to believe he didn't have a job this time last year. Ash Johnson picked up in the mid-season draft and now has a place in arguably the best team in footy. Out of the middle, Cox down to DeGoey. A 1-2 with Tom Mitchell. DeGoey kicks down to high half forward. McCreary and Fleeton in a tangle, and a free kick for Cameron Fleeton. 20-year-old St. Joey's lad out of Geelong. Third year on the Giants list. He goes short to Big Flynn. Makes the sprawling mark, the Giants ruckman. He's got Lockie Ash wrapping around the back. He says, I'm going to kick that, and puts it out on the full.
Give it to Ash every time, Big Gerald. He's running around behind you for a reason.
Yep. Free kick for Sidebottom. Defensive side of the wing. This will be possession 10 for him. Collingwood lead it by 26 points. They've kicked the last 3 goals of the game, either side of quarter time.
Steve Cornelio leading possession, getting on the ground with 13. As Sidebottom puts it up to Mason Cox, who takes it on the second bite. Starting to get involved in the game. He wheels onto his right-hand side, kicks towards Myercheck. In from the side, Brown. Bobby Hill lost his footing. McCreary's hand pass to Tom Mitchell, spinning out of the traffic. From the Angwin tackle, hand passes to Sidebottom, hard against the boundary. A centering ball looking for Taylor Adams, big fly. Bedford almost came down with a mark. It's now Josh Dacos who's trying to lock it in. Hayden with a hand pass to Ash, cutting through traffic. Myercheck lays the tackle. Now it's Brown's problem. 15 metres out from his defensive goal. The pressure and the charges are coming. He was able to hold his ground. And a ball up 20 metres out from Collingwood's goal.
Bit of hang time for Bedford too. Felt like he sort of sat in the air for a while. Couldn't quite finish it off. As Flynn knocks it down to Green, somehow got a hand pass away. Cornelio taps it over his head to Perryman, high up and under the half-back. Maynard at the drop takes the mark. Toby Green tonight to renew his battle. They played some big finals against each other. Of course, that semi-final that Collingwood won. And then the prelim, of course, which the Giants saluted both here. As Maynard kicks into the pocket, over the head of Cox. Here's Ginnivan. Sharp angle, he shoots goalward. He puts it across the face. It's out on the full. Kicked the goal in the opening term, Jack Ginnivan. Copped a bit of a corky early in the game, but after a brief time on the sideline, was able to come back in and had an impact thereafter as Buckley goes short to Haynes and he shares it with Iden. Right back pocket, short to Brown. Half-back for the Giants. Collingwood by 26 points, 8 minutes into the second.
Not a great kick, looking for Perryman. So Nick Dacos races after it for Collingwood. 1-2 with Mitchell. Hand pass inboard to Crisp. Over the top to Moore. Almost ran into a dead end. Links up with DeGoey. Can't quite pick it up cleanly. A chance for the Giants, although Cornelio's tackled as soon as he got the hand pass from Cadman. Now trying to bust his way through as Crisp plays the tackle. Just short of half forward for the Magpies. Punt road end. Collingwood by 26 points. 9 minutes gone, second term. Cox rises early, can't win down the tap against Finlayson. Hand pass from Cornelio straight to Cox, gives it away to DeGoey on the run. You know how this ends. The tall and the short combining there as the destructive Jordan DeGoey, when he has that sort of space, often makes you pay. Collingwood with 3 goals on the trot in the second quarter. Through the opening 9 minutes, they're 8-1-49 to the Giants 2-5-17. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
It was probably just a little bit too easy, that one. Lids.
Siege just parted, didn't they?
They did, and I was just about to say before that stoppage that to the Giants' credit, their pressure's actually been pretty good, but on that occasion, almost looks like Perryman, well, it is Perryman at the moment, playing on Nick Dacos, trying to tag him, and Dacos is just running around, just causing a bit of havoc and just doing whatever he likes, and that's opening up some opportunities for his teammates around him, but you can't just be sitting off a player like Jordan DeGoey around 50.
Mason Cox having a big game too. 6 contested possessions, 4 clearances and already a goal. Handing that last one to DeGoey out of the middle. Peatling off the wing, hand pass to Tom Green, gave it to Ash under the pump, tackled by Hill. Ball spits out to Josh Dacos, soccers it forward, it turns and runs out of play in front of the Giants bench. 70 metres out from the Collingwood goal. Pies by a game high 32. Full time in Adelaide, it was the Crows by 52 over St Kilda. Been wide the margins so far in round 9. With this, the final stop. Last game of round 9. Last 4 goals in the game for Collingwood. For the boundary throw-in, they win it again at the coalface. DeGoey to Mitchell, hand pass to Josh Dacos, kicks inside 50. Myercheck marking on his chest. Leaping up at left half forward, and he'll have a set shot here from about 40 out.
Just again, their clearance work, just beaten at the stoppage, but it's more the space on sort of the back shoulder of the stoppage there where they're just getting opened up. It seems like they constantly do it at Collingwood, so it's not like the Giants wouldn't have prepared for it, but they should almost sit their winger just behind the ruckman's hands over the back of the stoppage and just pick up whoever's running through there, because Collingwood just run and gun straight through there all the time.
Off a career high 5 last week, Brodie Myercheck is in business tonight. Through it goes, and Collingwood have kicked the last 5. And all of a sudden, it's getting out of hand for GWS. It's the Pies by 38 points, 11 gone second term, 9-1-55, GWS 2-5-17.
Yeah, you're right, Murphy. I mean, you can look down the field and say, Jack Buckley, what are you doing? Why aren't you closer to Brodie Myercheck? But it's here at the source, at the stoppage, where you need to be able to cut that in. That's where, as you said, that wingman just got drawn in. I think it was Peatling at that stage. Came in. As soon as you come into the ball and don't impact, the ball gets on the outside, and then there was a clear kicking lane where the ball could just be popped away out of the space. And Myercheck, we know that he reads it as early and as quickly as anyone, and was in the right place, right time. He's in a good vein of form at the moment, Brodie Myercheck, as other Pies.
Is that right? 10 tackles to none in this second quarter, the way the Magpies are out by 38 points. They've had 20 to 15 inside 50s, including 6 to 3 so far in this second quarter. The Giants through Josh Kelly to Cornelio, too slow. Tackled and holding the ball. Taylor Adams got him. Just that moment of hesitation. And Adams takes the free kick, chips it forward to Pendlebury. He marks just short of centre half forward at the punt road end of the MCG. He's got Hoskin Elliott deep. Jamie Elliott as well. He gives the hand pass to Degoe and then tries to put a block on Himmelberg. Descended inside 50. Crisp the target. Can't take the mark. Charging in there is Brown for the Giants. Hand pass to Tom Green. Links up with Cornelio to Whitfield. Now to Angwin out of defence for the Giants. Hand pass away to Josh Kelly. Doesn't have a lot up the southern wing he likes, so he hesitates for a moment. Spots O'Halloran, who marks defensive side of the AFL logo. Nice transition to Himmelberg. He marks in front of Quaynor and long kick to Hogan. Takes the mark at the top of the goal square. Better from the Giants.
Very good transition. It was their great work off half back. It was Josh Kelly who stopped and looked back inside and saw, I think it was O'Halloran inside rather than just go long and play a safe brand of football. He thought, I'm going to have a go through the corridor here. Saw a teammate and run and go and get one out the back, and Jesse Hogan had his man cold.
At 28 years of age, Jesse Hogan feels like we're seeing his best. Game 126. The former Demon and Docker pretty much directly in front, shooting for his second, and to stop Collingwood's charge, he steers it straight through the middle. Breaks a run of 5 unanswered goals Collingwood's way. And Jesse Hogan with his second as the Giants 3-5-23 to Collingwood 9-1-55. The margin is 32 points at the 14-minute mark of the second term.
Yeah, it was some elite kicking on show there, wasn't it? The Kelly one to O'Halloran picked him out in a field of 5 or 10 players, but then it was O'Halloran hit a dart to Harry Himmelberg, and then in the same breath it was Harry who just swung and got it.
Beautiful
in.
kick.
He could have easily have gone back over his mark and assessed, but trusted that Jesse was going to be down there and in the right spot, and that's what most key forwards want, or certainly what my old key forwards used to tell me, just get it in.
Yeah, I think once you do penetrate and get one through the corridor, then you need a wheel and go and just back in that your forwards are getting length on the ground and getting out the back as hard as they can and just put it straight out to space.
Collingwood by 32 on the back of Hogan's second. Flynn in the middle wins the hit out, but straight down to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Degoe. Handball to Johnson. He's tackled. Didn't dispose of it correctly. Free kick Giants. G. Kelly sweeping hand pass to Peatley. Now to try and step around the would-be tackler. Hand pass backing board to Tom Green. Extracts it to Flynn. Squeeze the kick out straight to Nick Dacos. Short kick to Ginnivan. Still in the centre square. Ginnivan in the long sleeves. Perfect placement. Hits up McCreary, who marks centre half forward for Collingwood.
Just seeing a few boys, especially off half back, just letting Josh Kelly know that, mate, you don't need to take that advantage there. And when he did, as soon as he did and gave that handball off, it just put Peatling under so much more pressure than he needed to be. They had the ball won. Sometimes as a midfielder you can get a little bit too ball hungry and not think about the team first.
Didn't have a touch in the opening quarter by McCreary. He's on the drop punt here. He misses out to the right. Behind. It's been a nice season so far, though. And Collingwood pressure forward. So Collingwood by 33, 9-2 to 3-5. 15 gone second term. The final game of round 9.
As Whitfield looks to bring the Giants back into play. How's that a kick? Lace out to Cornelio. Gets the hand pass to Callanan, trying to drive some forward momentum up the middle of the ground. Hogan the target with Darcy Moore. Moore spoils it down straight into the hands of Himmelberg, who feeds the hand pass back to Cornelio. Back to Himmelberg. Just can't link up with him as the hand pass is wide of him in front of the Collingwood bench, who Collingwood fans to the right are getting involved with the ball out of play, and the Magpies leading by 33 points. Craig McRae on the boundary, as he so often is. Such a senior set of assistant coaches with Justin Lepage and Brendan Bolton part of these coaching crew. Flynn wins down the tap, trying to link up with Perryman. Gave it back to him. Callahan kicks around the body towards Peatling at half forward. Can't take the mark. Markov dropped it. Peatling, great pickup. Hand pass to Bedford. Over the top to Lloyd. Opens up in front of him. 25 metres out. Hits the post. Into the right goal post. 3/4 of the way up. Did a lot of the hard work. Just couldn't finish it.
No, it's just the detail in the end. Had another one to handball over the top. Drew the the Collingwood defender, but in every right to go for goal, but make a simple one of it and just handball over the top to Jesse Hogan, run to an open goal.
Nick Dacos steps out of the goal square, long to centre half back. Brown in the box seat, no mark. He's going to get a free kick though, as he was legally shepherded out of it in the last moment. So Callum Brown, not the Collingwood Callum Brown, who's no longer on their list. This is the Callum Brown for GWS as he kicks out wide and Callaghan takes the mark right half forward.
Usually a beautiful left foot kick. We saw one in the first quarter. He had a ping from outside 50, so he certainly feels like he's got it in his leg.
It's not as far to that end as well, that City end of the ground.
Downhill. I'm taking you out there after this quarter.
He's Callaghan from the 50. Usually a good kick. That's not his best effort. Kicks a helicopter, top of the goal square, falls down to Lloyd. Hand pass away to Bedford, to Peatling. Hand pass, Cornelio snaps, touched on the way through. And behind, Collingwood by 32 points, 9-2 to 3-6, 18 goal on second term.
They're doing a lot right at the moment, the Giants, in the last 4 or 5 minutes, but it's just been that last shot at goal or last decision that they're just not getting right.
31 points.
Nick Dacos had 7 disposals in the first, 7 in the second as he does the kick-in duties. Mark was dropped by Mitchell. McCreary, though, for Collingwood, kept it going forward. Hand pass to side bottom, combines with Pendlebury. Side bottom around the boundary line for McCreary. It's just too wide. In game 298, a couple away from the 300 milestone. He'll celebrate it with Mason Cox, who brings up his 100. Big Mason joking yesterday that he'll take a bit of the gloss off Steele if he can.
I don't think he's joking.
No.
He'll be looking for his piece of the limelight.
Yeah. He's in the ruck here, winning down the tap, Mason Cox, but it's Callaghan who had it for a moment. Spills to Tom Mitchell, inside 50. Hoskin Elliott wedged in the pack, can't take the mark. Hand pass comes out from Fleeton. Sold. Whitfield into traffic, can't win it. Spills to Haynes, who gets the hand pass out to Angwin. Drives it up the southern wing towards Lloyd. Flies over the top of Markov. Can't take the mark. Noble racing back. Dodging and weaving. Point one tackle and the Bedford tackle. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Back to Noble. Just too wide for Nick Dacos. And Kelly for the Giants wins it.
Hand pass out wide to Lloyd. Comes inboard to Bedford. Hand pass away to Kelly. Gives it to Perryman. Hand pass to Cornelio. Is this high handball game again? Shares it with Whitfield. Kicks inside 50. Hogan lost track of it. Side bottom spoils. Peatling went without it. Side bottom wins it again. Hand pass to Murphy. Kicks out of the defensive 50 for Collingwood to a one-on-one, and McCreary got rid of Ash. Umpire says illegally.
It was just good body, I thought. Yeah, we've seen a couple of worse than that the early parts of this round.
Lockie Ash goes short to Callaghan. 31 points, Collingwood's lead. Approaching time on second term. Short kick to Peatling. He's 55 out, dabs it short, finds Xavier O'Halloran, who takes the mark right half forward, 45 out.
We had one yesterday at the MCG, Jacob Van Rooyen with a push right in the middle of the back, and it wasn't paid. It's hard to judge them sometimes now.
Yeah, too much grey in it. At least before, I think it was, if you push him in the back, it's a free kick against. Yeah. Whereas now it's sort of like, you fully extend, but if you don't, how do you judge that? It's hard for the umpire.
Tough gig for the umpires.
Magpie Army ain't happy. Free kick against them. Now results in a shot at goal. Xavier O'Halloran shoots goalward. He's offline. Misses to the left. Second behind of the day. For the Giants, number 33. It's Collingwood by 5 goals. 9-2 to 3-8. 21 goal in second term.
Yeah, it is Collingwood by 5 goals, but they've had the same amount of scoring opportunities, and they probably should have kicked the last 2 or 3, to be honest, with the Giants. So they're playing some good footy. They just need to capitalise.
Last 3 scores have all been behinds as Nick Dacos got away from the tackler up to the wing. Iden spoils it down. Tom Mitchell for Collingwood front and centre. Hand pass towards Tagoe. Spills away from him. Trying to knock it forward, Fleeton, but it's Tagoe who gathers. Hand pass for Collingwood in the middle of the ground. To Adams, back to Tagoe. They're playing with him now. Kicks inside 50. Out in front of Brown, who gathers in front of Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass missed Callaghan. Josh Dacos sliding in. Brushes the tackle. 1, twice. Hand pass down low for Taylor Adams. Snap across his body, smothered by Ash. Still comes out towards Hoskin Elliott. It comes down the way of Fleeton, and he's tackled in the right forward pocket for the Pies by Ash Johnson and Bobby Hill. Collingwood at the punt road end, leading by 30 points.
To get out to 38 earlier in the quarter, Collingwood's way from the restart. No clean possession, spills to Kelly. He's under the pump, he's tackled high. They will not be happy with this, Collingwood. Free kick, two-man tackle, Johnson and Adams, and the upset, it was taken high. There's the double reaction as the replay shown on the big screen, and the Collingwood fans who didn't see it the first time howling on the second occasion. Kicks out to half-back, more spoils, down to Cox. Hand pass away to Nick Dacos, gives it to brother Josh. Back to Nick, roaming through half-forward, kicks to Bobby Hill, big climb. Fleet and spoils, falls down to Adams, who snaps a goal, but it won't count. Wait until they realise this, the Collingwood fans, a free kick's coming back for the Giants. And it's going to go to Haynes, who had his head sat on by Bobby Hill in that marking contest. GWS with it in the defensive 50 as Haynes kicks short to Whitfield.
Whitfield works it up to Tom Green, who marks it left half back. Kicks out to Callaghan on the southern wing. Shows good pace and acceleration to try and move it up towards Himmelberg. Darcy Moore in front. Himmelberg still gathered. Kicks inside 50. Murphy in front. Lloyd lays the tackle. Running onto a Bedford. Tries to brush the tackle for the Giants. Sold some candy. Hand pass away to Lloyd. He's trying to brush off Josh Dacos. And the umpire says you can't do that. Holding the ball. It's very close to the boundary. But didn't go across it in the end. Dropping the footy resulted in the umpire blowing his whistle. Josh Dacos at right half back for the Pies. Kicks forwards to Goey. Can't take the mark. O'Halloran didn't have eyes on the footy. And Collingwood take the free kick. Jordan De Goey at right half back. The Magpies with 4-1 in this second quarter to the Giants 1-4. As he works it around the southern wing, and John Noble takes the mark. Floodlights having taken over here at the MCG. Noble works it short to Mitchell. He marks between wing and half forward on the southern side. Giants have pushed a lot of numbers back. So he'll have to look for the right options inside 50. If he is out to the left, kicks it as long and as far as he can. Mason Cox is the tallest of them. It clears him. Haynes at the back. Hand pass to Whitfield under pressure. Ash tries to squeeze the kick forward. O'Halloran couldn't take the mark. To go his hand pass to Mitchell. Tackled. Got it to Sidebottom. To mark off at half forward. He loads up long inside 50. Johnson is there. Myercheck comes charging out. Hoskin Elliott. Tied up against the boundary. Almost made it work. Wrong side of the right goalpost. And it's Collingwood who lead by 31 points. 24 minutes gone, second term.
Ash plays on from the kick out, shoot to Haynes. Got to go across the half-back flank. Hurried kick with the pressure from McCreary. Up to Cadman on the wing. Flies no mark, falls down to Bedford. Follows up his own hand pass. Just taps it forward to Peatling. Paddles it out in front. Nutmegged himself. Now he's lost it. Sidebottom tries to go back in to collect. The big body of Cadman grabs the footy. Bounces off Sidebottom, who sort of wants to see if he's cut his lip.
No, don't get sucked into it.
What do we miss here? There's a free kick against Cadman going Murphy's way.
He had his strides pulled down, so he bumped him back over, and Murphy's just flopped with the best of them. And the umpire bought all of it.
And the retaliator gets penalised.
Yeah.
What's the famous quote about retaliate first? As Murphy goes back to Nick Dacos, he swings it across the half-back line to Moore. Short kick to Noble, back edge of the centre square. Collingwood by 31, time on second turn.
Called Ash Johnson in that marking contest with Brodie Myercheck. He's coming to the bench. We'll get Jess Webster to keep an eye on that as Markoff works it around the southern side. Josh Dacos takes the mark. Hand pass to Markoff, who kept running. He's now at right half forward as Lloyd offers chase. Long kick inside 50. Myercheck's there. In from the side, Flynn spoils it out of play. In the right forward pocket for Collingwood. Punt road end. Magpies leading by 31 points. 25 minutes gone, second quarter. Final match of round 9 of the AFL. The Magpies a chance to move a game clear on top. Cox knocks it over the back for Collingwood. Brown red at best for the Giants. Hand pass out as far as Josh Dacos on 50. Hand pass back to Pendlebury. Links up with Noble. Gives the hand pass to De Goey. He wheels onto his left boot with a centering kick. Markoff couldn't take the mark. Mainon runs onto it. Hand pass back to Markoff. Inside 50. Shares the hand pass to McCreary. Centres it back to Quaynor. Edge of the centre square for Collingwood.
It's going to be hard to find a teammate here. Giants got 15 guys back in the hole.
Quaynor goes a long way back. He just pops it out in front of Myercheck. In front of him, Callaghan spoils. Myercheck gets a play on it. Shoots goalward. Misses. Near side or behind. Callaghan sitting in front of him, tried to spoil it away, and in the end knocks it straight into the path of Brodie Myercheck. Collingwood by 32. 9-4 to 3-8. 27 gone second turn. About a minute and a half left in this first half of footy.
Lockie Whitfield, the former number 1 draft pick, brings the Giants back into play, sends it long towards Cadman. Mason Cox, well set, comes in from the side. Tough one for the 19-year-old Aaron Cadman in the mismatch against Mason Cox, who chips it short to Markov. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Ash Johnson appears okay on the Pies bench. He did come off in a fair bit of discomfort, but he's just gotten a bit of, patchwork done. He had a bit of blood on his knee, and he's walking along the bench now. He appears okay.
Thanks, Jess. Markov long to the pocket. Collingwood could take the mark. The Giants flirting with it. It's Perryman to Iden out of defence, and now Callahan with a long kick up to Himmelberg. That's a great kick as he spots him and he marks in front of Noble.
Going to have to hold it up here, just wait for his troops to get down the ground and provide an option.
Less than a minute to go. He wrong foots Noble on the mark and then heads down to half forward with the kick.
Great kick.
And there's Daniels who takes the mark for GWS. Just forward of that southern wing. Not a heap up ahead. He goes short to Lloyd. 30 seconds left in the half. He's got the footy on the wing. Crowded forward 50 City end of the ground. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Hogan flies, spills out the back of the pack, and Markov is there, the former Sun, former Tiger. Short kick to Pendlebury. And takes some strides back. Collingwood with it in the back pocket. 10 seconds remaining. In this opening half, he goes back to Darcy Moore in front of the goals at the City end. They had it out by as many as 38, Collingwood. At halftime, they'll lead by 32. 4 goals to 1 in that second quarter for the Magpies. They led at 9-4-58, GWS 3-8-26. A 32-point advantage for the all-conquering Pies, the top-of-the-table team. The goal kickers, Clinchy, well spread again for Collingwood. They've got 8 different goal kickers, 2 for Bobby Hill. They both came in the first quarter, and then singles down the page. Tagoe, Elliott, Hoskin, Elliott, Ginnivan, Johnson, Myercheck, Cox. Meanwhile, for GWS, 2 for Jesse Hogan, and then 1 for Finn Callahan. That's it. They're 3 goals. 9-4 to 3-8 at halftime. Collingwood by 32.
So the Pies kicked 5 goals to 2 in the opening quarter. In that quarter, they kicked 4-3 to GWS 1-4. So it could have been a closer margin if the Giants could have taken their chances. But as it stands, Collingwood 32-point leaders. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it could have been clinching, and the Pies started that quarter off red hot. They were terrific. They were just very classy. To the Giants' credit, they actually fought back pretty hard and got their clearances right after getting really touched up early in that second quarter. But it was just their decision-making, 1 going inside 50 and 2 just finishing off that opportunity when it did present. And they could have almost evened up the ledger a little bit towards the back half of that second quarter, but just a few little missed opportunities I'd love to have back again. But I still feel that Adam Kingsley will be impressed by the pressure and the effort around the contest.
Yeah.
I think they're defending pretty well considering. It's just more about just the polish, just getting that first option right and then backing yourself in from there, because when they have decided to back their leg in or by hand, they have scored. So the times when Collingwood have looked their best is when Giants have gone slow and just played down the line into their hands. So if I was Adam Kingsley, I'd say, boys, keep the pressure up around the contest. Let's make sure we're not getting picked apart by the likes of playing against was Perryman against Nick Dacos, where he was running through stoppages, creating a bit of havoc. And then 2, just when the opportunity arises, back yourself in to hit your skill.
The Giants won the contested possession leads in that second quarter, but they only had 2 tackles. So I'm sure Adam Kingsley would focus on that. Feels like a bit of an outside game at times, and that's more in Collingwood's hands probably than the Giants.
Right. Yeah, no, I think you're right there, Clinchy. The Collingwood's ability, and it's off the back of Jordan Tagoe at the moment. I feel like he's the one who's splitting them apart from inside the contest, getting it on the outside, and their inability to, 1, tackle him, but to stop that ball getting from the inside onto the out is what's opening him up and putting their backs under a heap of pressure. So, try and get Canelio and Tom Green, Josh Kelly when he's in there, their ability to try and keep that ball in a little bit closer and make it a bit more of a scrap versus that free-flowing game where it's opening up. That'll be a real key. But if the Giants go into their shell and try and hold on to possession and go slow, that just allows Collingwood to get strong behind the ball, and then that ignites their play off half-back, and away they go. So they've got to keep going for their kicks, but they've got to keep continuing to work hard. I was just watching there the work of Hogan and Cadman across half-forward. There's so much reliance if there's only those 2, and Himmelberg's got an exit kick out on the other wing, and they're stuck on this wing. Someone's got to play that role to be that next target. But that's the the learning curve, I think, for a young Aaron Cadman. It's a tough gig at centre half forward in your fourth or fifth game.
I mentioned they got the Giants sort of kick to handball ratio in the competition in favour of the handball, so they're almost 1-to-1 in the way they go about it, and the numbers obviously reflect that again today. What does that do for a young team playing that style in particular, to be able to have, as they are, such a sort of handball-happy nature in the way that they go about it?
Oh, look, I think it's fine as long as obviously you're training it and they're executing the way in which they want to do it and not just going wide. They're trying to go forward while they're doing it. It's obviously the style that Adam Kingsley brought to the table and wants them to play. So
it's a bit Richmond style-esque,
you're not necessarily going to get pressure. Yeah, you're not necessarily going to get great results consistently when you're implementing a new game plan straight away. So it does take time, and there's a lot of balance to the way in which everyone goes about anything. So Collingwood aren't always just going to run and dash the whole time. There's method where they'll use the young contested mark option, or they'll go wide. It's having a balance of certain methods of using the football. So sometimes they're not getting it quite right, but it is difficult when you're playing against a great pressure side in Collingwood, because if you're not right on with your skill, then you're going to get punished as a result.
And if you're not going at them and going through them, that is inviting pressure, and that's when their waves just keep coming. So that's the challenge for the Giants in this second half.
You're not wrong about Jordan De Goey. Nick Dacos is getting a lot of the attention, but 20 disposals, 9 contested possessions, 5 clearances, 5 inside 50s, 7 score involvements and a goal.
On the ground.
That's a stat sheet stuffer, and he's probably, for the first time in all Australian calculation, given Collingwood going so well. Further thoughts? Yep.
Sorry, one quick one. Is this Mason Cox's best game since the 2018 prelim?
If Jordan De Goey wasn't out there at the moment, he'd be best on by the street. He's played a terrific game.
Your interview has turned Mason Cox's whole fortunes around. In game number, 98, this is as good as I reckon we've seen him look since that first half against Richmond.
Weekly thing, I reckon, Clinchy.
Every Saturday from 12 to 1, we're available. Leeds, if any of your players want to come and chat to us on the lead on Grandstand AFL Saturday.
He's looking like Dean Cox in the first half the way he's playing.
Collingwood by 32 points at the MCG. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Social Services Minister Amanda Rishworth has dismissed the Coalition's proposal to increase the job seeker income-free threshold, arguing it could have unintended consequences. In his budget reply speech, the opposition leader Peter Dutton withheld support for the government's $40 a night fortnight increase to job seeker. He instead called for recipients to be able to earn more before payments are reduced. Amanda Rishworth has told Sky News the proposal is a thought bubble with no substantive analysis behind it.
What we don't know is how this will actually encourage workforce participation. He's provided no evidence to suggest that this would alleviate barriers that many people on JobSeeker have in gaining employment.
Search parties have been scouring beaches on South Australia's Eyre Peninsula to try to find any trace of a man taken by a shark while surfing. Imogen Hain reports.
Local teacher Simon Baccanello was among a group of about a dozen surfers near Elliston yesterday when witnesses reported seeing him being attacked by a shark. An extensive air and water search has so far only retrieved the 46-year-old's surfboard. Superintendent Paul Barr says teams will now focus their efforts on land.
Those searches will continue into the next few days as we continue to look for indications of our victim.
In a statement, Mr Baccanello's family said they were grateful for the support of the Elliston community, family and friends.
The Queensland Government will roll out new technology to help prevent road crashes. The system will use radars to detect cars that are about to run a red light and stop opposing traffic lights from turning green. State Transport Minister Mark Bailey says it will be installed at 15 intersections by the middle of next year.
We'll see these in Western Queensland, in far north, central Queensland, in the southeast. They'll be at a range of different locations, but we're choosing the sites based on their safety record, and that's the most important thing.
The Victorian Government is being urged to criminalise the sale of Nazi memorabilia following an online auction yesterday. Roseanne Maloney has the story.
The Anti-Defamation Commission says Nazi memorabilia sold online is the embodiment of inhumanity and horror and tramples on the memory of victims of the Holocaust. The Commission's chair, Dr. Davia Abramovich, says the Victorian government needs to act quickly and ban the sale of the items. It comes after neo-Nazis protested on the steps of Parliament in Melbourne yesterday, promoting hateful messages about immigration and multicultural communities. 2 people were arrested for assaulting police after the far-right group clashed with counter-protesters. The state government has described the rally as disgraceful and cowardly.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has arrived in Berlin for talks with German leaders about arms deliveries to help his country fend off the Russian invasion. He flew to the German capital from Rome after meeting with the Pope at the Vatican yesterday. After initially hesitating to provide Ukraine with lethal weaponry, Germany has become one of the biggest arms suppliers to Ukraine. On the eve of Mr Zelensky's arrival, the German government announced a new package of military aid worth more than $4.5 billion, including tanks and anti-aircraft systems. The Democratic governor of the US state of North Carolina has vetoed legislation that would have banned nearly all abortions. In a show of defiance to the state's Republican-controlled legislature, Roy Cooper vetoed the bill in front of a large crowd. The legislation was the Republican response to last year's US Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. Swedish act Loreen has won the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest with her song Tattoo. One of the favourites going into the competition, she had a strong lead after the jury vote. Finland, Italy and Norway moved up the leaderboard after the public vote, but Loreen maintained her position to beat the 26 countries vying for the title. Australian synth metal band Voyager finished in 9th with their song Promise. In AFL, the Adelaide Crows have handed St Kilda its biggest loss of the season with an emphatic 52-point success at Adelaide Oval. 5 goals to Taylor Walker helped the Crows to their highest score since 2019 in the 19-7-121 to 10-9-69 victory. The win moves Adelaide back into the league's top 8. And that brings you up to date with the latest ABC News.
What's the best thing in the world that's also on the ABC Listen app? The footy! This season, get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
Right through for a goal.
AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered.
She's got it! Bye-bye! See you later!
Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team.
Set, bingo!
AFL and NRL, live and ad-free. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Side bottom to Cox. Could see it coming a mile away as he just drifted his large frame to centre half forward and takes a towering mark. The American player can shoot from right on 50. It's a little longer trying to kick 50 at this end of the ground, but Mason Cox makes it look easy. Just dumps it straight over the goal umpire.
Hand pass from Canelio straight to Cox. Gives it away to Nagoe on the run. You know how this ends. It's the destructive Jordan Nagoe when he has that sort of space. Often makes you pay.
The boundary throwing, they win it again at the coalface. Nagoe to Mitchell. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Kicks inside 50. Myercheck marking on his chest. Leaping up at left half forward. And he'll have a set shot here from about 40 out. Off a career high 5 last week. Brody Myercheck is in business tonight. Through it goes, and Collingwood have kicked the last 5. And all of a sudden, it's getting out of hand for GWS.
He marks in front of Quaynor, and long kick to Hogan. Takes the mark at the top of the goal square. Better from the Giants. Pretty much directly in front, shooting for his second, and to stop Collingwood's charge, he steers it straight through the middle. Breaks a run of 5 unanswered goals Collingwood's way.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time in the MCG, the final match of round 9. Collingwood by 32 points, 9-4-58. The Giants 3-8-26. Matt Lynch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy are your experts on ABC Sport. Earlier today it was Adelaide by 52 points over the Saints. 19-7-121 to the Saints, 10-9-69. 6 goals in the first quarter the way of the Adelaide Crows. And they had 12 individual goal kickers in which Taylor Walker led the way with 5. Jack Higgins with 3 for the Saints. A concussion concern for Tim Membry as to whether he'll be right to back up next week for the Saints. But the Adelaide Crows are inside the top 8. And now the challenge for them is to try and stay there. It feels like it's getting into an interesting stage of the season. Collingwood, if they win today, they'll consolidate top spot on the AFL ladder. They'll move a game clear. And as we were touching on in the pre-game, sides like Melbourne, the Brisbane Lions, are challenging with Port Adelaide, the Saints, the Western Bulldogs and Geelong perhaps in the next bracket. And Murph's Blues all of a sudden are now outside the top 8 in questions starting to...
We should talk about them.
Well, we've got a bit of a post-match, Litz. I'm glad you made mention of that because we do have a little bit of time at the back end of the broadcast.
No, we're talking all things Collingwood.
Are we? Okay.
We're really getting around them.
If you want to steer the agenda...
I'll steer the agenda.
I'll steer it.
Okay, here we go. Plenty of people
straight
putting their
into
hands
the
up.
underperforming Blues.
No, how good have Collingwood been?
So hang around. We've got plenty to bring to you after the final match of round 9 of the AFL. Don't forget the National Rugby League is taking place this afternoon. If you want to listen to that, it's available in the same space. You can find every game of the AFL this season. The ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL button. You can also click on the NRL button. In the matches today, the Newcastle Knights defeated the Gold Coast Titans 46 points to 26. The Cronulla Sharks are too good for the Manly Seagulls 20-14. And the Dolphins had the bye. So South Sydney on top of the ladder, 8 wins and 3 losses, alongside the Brisbane Broncos, Penrith, the Melbourne Storm, the Raiders, Cronulla, the Dolphins and the Warriors make up the top 8 in the NRL. Don't forget, if you're looking for your podcast on a Monday as you make your way into work, Grandstand AFL Sunday is there. You can hear Rod Jamieson not being able to name any of Carlton's coaches, not even this one, Michael Voss, in which Mark Murphy took the points.
I felt that he misheard the question.
I'm questioning the instructions given to him.
I felt that he was asked who are the top 10 games coached by a Carlton coach. Yeah. So he went with Rob Walls, is fair enough. Yeah. But I'm trying to give Jamo an out because it was pretty poor.
Welcome to the show, and they stitched him up. He didn't even understand the rules of the game. It
happens a bit with Corbin, actually.
The question was the cheesy game show. If you're not aware of it, listen back on the podcast. Grandstand AFL Sunday with Corbin Middlemass, Mark Murphy, formerly Brett Delidio, but at the moment Rod Jamieson. He might come back for finals.
Maybe, yeah.
Not on that show.
I just got sick of winning, so I just thought I better let someone else have a go and let Murph come in.
Score check. Can we get a score check, Corby, between Lids and I?
Narrowly ahead this year, you were, Murph. Yeah, but the last.
Can we get a score check though?
Overall,
do you want me to tell you what it is?
Yeah,
4-1.
4-1.
Who keeps count?
I'm just going to go back to my notes here.
I like that because Lids is ultra competitive, and I can see him sort of ruffling up. It might bring his return. And of course, Offsiders on ABC iView with Corbin Middlemass, Kelly Underwood, Bruce Jitte and Rana Hussain this morning, covering all your sporting issues. What was your key talking point this morning?
We did a bit on the booing, obviously, which has been a big talking point this week. So there hasn't been a lot of newsy threads in footy. We obviously had some results and some sort of wide games, so we did that. The Tasmanian situation is fascinating, which has really sort of been a big story the last 3 days, given the fact that Jeremy Rockcliffe now leads a minority government. So they've had 2 MPs basically become independents, so leave the Liberal Party, which means to pass any legislation they're going to need 2 other MPs to get anything over the line. So whether that's from Labor, the Greens, Independents, whatever it is. And obviously with the stadium ongoing at the moment, if there's additional costs for everything that happens there, and there seems to be growing support. We had a rally yesterday of 6,000 people yesterday morning down in Hobart, basically protesting the stadium.
I heard one of the quotes from that. Stick your stadium.
Yeah,
we don't need it. Give us the team and we'll have our own ground.
From Jackie Lambie. She doesn't usually mix her words up too often, Jackie, so she was quite strong. But that's an interesting unfolding situation, and obviously one that Rockcliffe and the Tasmanian government will have to try and handle, given that it's one thing that they've got the team. I think we all know what it is. That Tasmanian people wanted a team but didn't want a new stadium. By and large, you put your finger in the wind. Obviously, there's sort of people that want both, one or the other, or whatever it may be. The AFL clearly said it's not one without the other. You need to have the stadium if you want the team.
It was the deal.
We'll give you the team,
but you give us the stadium with the roof.
So the AFL were very clear. I feel like the Tasmanian people were clear. They wanted the team, not necessarily the stadium. And in the end, the government governed, but they didn't quite bring the base along for the ride. So as a result, you've got some backlash from the Apple Islanders basically saying, oh, hang on, we wanted the team, but we didn't want the stadium. And there's a bit of consternation about that. So that'll continue to unfold, I'm sure, in the days and weeks to come as on the political front in Tassie. So that was on the agenda today, among sort of various other things.
So if you're not happy enough with Corbin's synopsis, go back and watch the show, and they covered it in depth. The umpires have come back out. Collingwood are making their way back on the MCG, in between the Giants making their way out. Tell me what I need to know about Jason Maloney
Yes.
And while today was significant.
Huge win for him, so he holds now a piece of the world title. So
this is boxing for our listeners, given I didn't lead it in well enough.
He won a majority decision overseas today, so that's a critical win for him. He should have won a unanimous decision, but let's not get bogged down in the officiating. He was able to walk away with a piece of the world title. So both the Maloney guys in the frame at the moment in what is a pretty loaded division at the lighter weight classes. But another world champion for Australian boxing, which is in a really healthy place at the moment. And Jason Maloney becomes the latest of them to hold a piece of the world title.
Nicely done as the Giants make their way out onto the MCG on the SMS. We love your contributions and thoughts. 0437 774 774. I live in Hobart. There's no way there were 6,000 people at that rally yesterday. What does the panel think of the referendum on the new AFL stadium? Everybody I talk to says no.
About having this, what's the issue with it? Is because of the money that's being pumped into it, whereas there's a housing issue down there. Is that what it is?
So basically, the comparison's always Adelaide Oval. So look what Adelaide Oval is, and it's completely brought the city to life and everything else. Per capita, it costs taxpayers, and there's a lot of state money that's gone into this. It costs them $600 a head, basically. The Tasmanian Stadium in Hobart's going to cost $1,400 a head. So they're paying more than double to have that. There's obviously a need for more housing down there. There's always a debate about whether the money's better used in other areas. And, I mean, none of us are Tasmanian state taxpayers, so it's sort of hard for us to sit here and comment what's the best use of 100%. State funds. But I think it's worth listening to people down there. The part I find fascinating is during the whole debate about whether Tassie should have a team and a stadium and everything else, we got told all the time from native Apple Islanders, sick of hearing opinions from the mainland, don't worry about the mainlanders, let's listen to the people in Tassie. They get their team. Now people in Tassie are unhappy with it, and they're saying, don't worry about them. Don't listen to those people that are unhappy about the stadium. Just forge on with the new footy team. So there's a bit to work through there.
And, of course, the Giants and the Gold Coast didn't have a stadium when they first started, so they're making the case that we've got
out of Blacktown, the
at
Giants
least
boys.
Two that are perfectly adequate stadiums, given that the AFL are not looking to bring the team in for another 4 or 5 years, so we'd have plenty of time to try and improve those facilities there. Players are heading out into position. Collingwood leading by 32 points, and the Giants had their moments in that second quarter. They beat a 1-4 to Collingwood's 4-3, and it could have been a lot closer had they been able to capitalise. Bobby Hill with a couple of goals against his former side. As Corby touched on, I probably didn't give Mason Cox his flowers, as they say. He was able to have a dominant first half and really get on the board with a long-range goal, but 11 disposals, 5 marks, 10 hit-outs, 4 clearances and a goal. In a side where they're short of big men, Billy Frampton out, Kruger, Cameron, a chance for one of them to stand up and take their spot, and Mason Cox is here to get the second half underway against Matt Flynn.
Flynn grabs it out of the ruck, gets a kick forward for GWS, and Markov repels off the back flank for Collingwood. He swings it wide to Josh Dacos. Takes the mark, hand pass to Noble. Short kick down the wing, trying to get it to Pendlebury. Touched it on the way through, but it slides out of bounds. Collingwood by 32 points. Pies have actually trailed at half-time in their previous 2 fixtures. Obviously coming from behind to defeat Essendon and Sydney in recent weeks. A win here today will keep them a game clear on top. 15 seconds into the third term. Boundary throwing. There's the guest on the lead, Mason Cox, as he leaps up, wins the hit out, but falls down to Flynn. Hurried kick forward for GWS. Moore just punches it back in the other direction for Collingwood. Nick Dacos, hurried handball to Murphy, to Maynard, back to Nick Dacos. Running and carrying through centre-half back. Hand pass to DeGoey, gives it to Maynard. Kicks to centre-half forward, just miskicked it. Out in front of Adams, no mark, no to Haynes. Adams mops it up to Elliott, to Chris. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. He misses from 25 out on the run. Gee, I booked him in from there. Behind.
It's amazing watching him live, isn't it, Nick Day? Because he just shoots out of a cannon from half back and just keeps on running the lines and just inevitably just gets on the end of it. So his hard running, just obviously given a license just to just go as hard as you can from defence running forward. Great to watch.
Whitfield brings the Giants back into play with a nice kick that finds Jesse Hogan. Working a long way up the ground from full forward. He marks it right half back. No real options around the southern wing. Look to come back inboard. Nothing on offer, so drives it long in the end. It won't get to Himmelberg. And Noble takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. Under the Shane Warne stand. Magpies are normally so organised in this facet of the game. He works it back to Murphy. Now to Goey, back edge of the centre square. Possession number 22 coming up to join Nick Dacos as the leading disposals get us on the ground. To Crisp. Chips it forward to Taylor Adams. Just short of centre half forward for the Pies. Ignores De Goey streaming by. Now pushes well back behind his mark and gestures long. Johnson's on the field. He sends it in that direction into the pocket in front. Good mark taken from Buckley for the Giants.
New deal during the week as well for Jack Buckley as he kicks to half back for Whitfield. Sweeping hand pass to Iden. Shoots it out wide for Josh Kelly. He's got Haynes running alongside him, boundary side. Probably needed a Shepherd. He won't get that. Gives it to Haynes. Standing in front of the interchange, down to half forward. Maynard and Daniels. Maynard punches it close to the boundary line. And Himmelberg grabs possession. Murphy goes over the top and they all go out of play. Half forward for GWS.
Could have gone there a lot earlier, I feel. Josh Kelly had Brent Daniels working right across the ground. Just put it out in front of him, allow him to run onto that ball. If it goes out of bounds, set up again after that. But holding on to it just draws Collingwood's defence in.
Toss back in. Flynn lost his footing. Cox kept his. Hand pass towards the go. He's socket forward by Perryman. Comes to O'Halloran. Snaps across his body. That's a great finish. From 45 metres out. Took his opportunity. And able to steer it through for the first goal of the second half, which is now 3.5 minutes old. The Giants 4-8-32 to Collingwood 9-5-59. On ABC Sport, you're with Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Well, Adam Kingsley will be very happy with a score from stoppage. It was actually Mason Cox who got his hand on the ball first, but it was good pressure around the stoppage. There was no outlet for Mason to go to, and that just forced an errant handball. And then just clever one-step kick, just knew where the goals were. O'Halloran, he's done a few clever things today. He's got a big body, doesn't he? He's
thick.
Really well suited to playing that high half-forward role to get up the ground, impact at stoppages, then run hard forward. Beautiful finish.
Was alongside Nick Dacos in the first quarter. He's back alongside him in the third term.
Having a bit to say. Xavier O'Halloran, a couple of behinds in the first half. He's got a goal here as Flynn wins the head out to go. He grabs the footy and Flynn tackles him. Right in the middle of the G. 27-point lead for Collingwood. Giants kick the last 2 goals either side of half-time. Early third term. Cox palms it down to Crisp. High kick to centre half forward. Johnson competes. Ginnivan just tried to tap it on. Back to Johnson. Hurried kick into the pocket. Myercheck chases out after it. The ball beats him over the boundary line. Throw in forward pocket for the Pies. Last game of round 9. Just the 2 games. Mother's Day. Earlier today it was Adelaide by 52 points. Jordan Dawson best of field. Got the top votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Boundary throw-in. Mason Cox wins it down. Here's Tom Green. Hand pass away. Stolen. Jack Crisp wins it. Forward pocket. Kicks to McCreary. Top of the goal square. Competes in the air. No mark. Falls to Fleeton. Hand pass to Kelly. Handball out wide to Haynes. He wanted the safety of the boundary line. Keeps it alive in the end of Lloyd.
Gets the hand pass away to Ash, trying to work it through the middle of the ground to Perryman. He can get a touch onto it. Well gathered by Cornelio. Keeps it going forward, although Whitfield can't gather. He taps it back to Cornelio. Fires a hand pass forward to O'Halloran, trying to get past Markov. Squeeze the kick inside 50 because Daniels is all on his own. Can he gather? No. It skids off the turf and goes out of play. He threw a boot at it. Don't think he got contact to it as Maynard was appealing for out on the full.
Well, they did well there, the Giants. They went through the corridor at least, but it was just a few little basic errors of not looking inside for the handball and turning wide, which obviously has resulted in a boundary throw-in. But try and look corridor. They had guys running in numbers and would have got one straight out the back and would have been an easy goal.
Shots on the monitor of Adam Kingsley, the Giants coach. That would have been one for the stress ball, given it felt like they were out. Perryman on 50, sends it inside 50, long towards Himmelberg. It's spoiled away from him. Pendlebury can't gather. Lloyd slides in. Hand pass to O'Halloran. Works it forward to Himmelberg. Dragged down by Maynard. Umpire says holding the ball. Didn't get a hand pass away. Braden Maynard wins the ball back for Collingwood in the right back pocket. Pies by 27 points.
Giants are 3-5 on the season. They've actually lost their last 5 third quarters, and they haven't led at three-quarter time all year in any game. They've kicked the first goal of the third quarter here. It's Collingwood by 27 points.
Ray spotted something. A bit of a block off the ball.
Yeah, might have been a Shepherd, I think.
So free kick for Flynn on the wing, so the Giants are going to get it back here. After Collingwood came out of the defensive arc, Flynn kicks to centre half forward. Flying in the air, Daniels, no mark, spills down to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Markov. Handball out to side bottom off the back flank. Kicks to Johnson on the wing. He should mark this and does. Turns and goes straight away. Pokes the pass out in front of Jamie Elliott. Marks in front of Iden. McCreary burning along on the inside. He doesn't give it to him. And Collingwood starting to get a few more numbers in the front half. They're outnumbered, and yet the goalie's hitting up and marking. Plenty of numbers back for GWS. 70 from home. Looks for Myercheck in the pocket. Crashes the pack. No mark.
Knee in the back of that.
Falls down to Ash. Hand pass to Tom Green. Turnover. Slips through his hands. Adams. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. Gives it to Josh Dacos. And the Pies burn the Giants on the turnover. Josh Dacos cashes it in, and Collingwood are out by 33. 10-5-65. The Giants 4-8-32. 8 gone third term.
Well, he's not, mate, there's not a lot of Lockie Whitfield, but he's as brave a player as I've ever played with. Will put himself in a hole, and I was actually going to commend the Giants for getting back in so many numbers. They left, their Collingwood opponent sitting back across the centre of the field, but it was the contest of Myercheck, their ability to crash that pack, and then Tay Adams just staying involved as a small forward. Got it over to Dacos. We know how crafty the Dacos boys are around goal. Dacos just come to Witter's just come to the bench there, get checked out. I reckon those ribs will be a bit sore.
Yeah, that's almost been a bit of the tale of the days, an unforced error from Giants on the way out, and then it was Collingwood's just clean hands to Dacos, which resulted in the goal. Just a little bit more classy at the moment. Collingwood under pressure.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidia, your experts on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch, Corbin Minimas and Jess Webster down on the boundary. Flynn wins down the tap for the Giants against Cox. Does his own clearance work. Sends it long inside 50. Cadman's removed in the marking contest. Legally by Darcy Moore, says the umpire. The Collingwood captain works it back to Murphy. His undersized defence finding a way out as he kicks to Quaynor, who marks it right half back. Magpies by 33 points, a goal apiece so far in this third quarter through 9 minutes. Quaynor points towards the members' wing, sends it towards Myercheck. He's outnumbered 2-on-1, and Brown and Buckley sees it out of play, not far from where Jess Webster's watching on.
Lockie Whitfield appears okay on the bench. She just had a chat to the doctors, got a few pats on the head as well. Players and staff recognising his courage in the contest. So the ribs appear okay, sitting in the front row of the bench, just having a breather.
Thanks, Jess. Yeah, that knee from Brody Myercheck in the marking contest. Thrown back in. Cox and Flynn. Cox wins down the tap. Tom Green has it. Tries to break out the tackle. Hand pass to Callaghan. Feeds it to Cornelio. Into the pocket. It might work. Great sliding tackle. Mark taken by Peatling. Just inside the field of play. Left forward pocket. He wants to centre it quickly. Spots Ash. Can he get it to him? He can. Over the fingertips of Taylor Adams, trying to lunge back. And it was a good option in the end. And Lockie Ash directly in front, shooting from about 40 metres out.
Well, just great football there from the Giants, from the stoppage. Caniglio's probably the only option that he had was probably a 5-metre patch of grass, and hit that with his left foot beautifully, and then the square-up kick was just as good.
Not a known goal kicker, the 21-year-old. Just 4 goals in his career. Comes in from directly in front. The Giants would love it here, and Lockie Ash delivers it. Giants close the gap back to 27 points. 2-1. GWS's way in this third term. Collingwood 10-5-65 to the Giants 5-8-38. They're trying to muster a response. 11 minutes gone, third term.
Well, it was a clearance work of Tom Green. But as a defensive coach against, you'd almost have to dip your lid, wouldn't you? Because it was into a small little pocket that Cornelio had to put it. And then that kick of Peatling was so risky to put it to a great turnover zone in between 4 or 5 Pies players. But it's risk versus reward. I mean, to kick a goal, you've got to go for those kicks, don't you? So, well done, Tom Green, standing up in that tackle initially. Good, great kick by Cornelio, but then Peatling to bite off a bit more, and good finish by Ash. Needed that goal, though, the Giants.
Just great strength in the hips from Tom Green, wasn't it? So good that he took the tackle and just embraced them to dish out to one of his teammates.
First goal of the year for Lockie Ash. Collingwood by 27 points. Back in the middle, Flynn working hard, drops to his knees, wins the footy after getting the hit out. Hand pass to Cornelio, kicks the centre half forward. Maynard knocks it away. Collingwood back with it. Mitchell to Nick Dacos on a jinking run as he works his way across the centre square. Hand pass to brother Josh. Handball to Noble. Back to Josh Dacos. Kicks across the ground. Side bottom takes the mark. The outer edge of the centre square now on the northern side of the G. Collingwood by 27. Giants with a bit of pep in their step, though, having kicked 3 of the last 4 goals. Short kick to Mitchell in the middle of the G, and he goes out wide to Noble. And Marks on the southern wing. Just about every player on the ground in front of him. Congested forward 50. Heads to a pack in the forward pocket. They all miss it because of a Hoskin Elliott shove. And a free kick. No, it's a free kick for the Pies. It's a shove into Bobby Hill.
Yeah, it's pretty fair enough.
Buckley just had his hand on his back.
Yeah. The free kick's going to go to Maynard. So third crack at that. There was about fourth crack at it. Myercheck has the footy.
Yeah. There's a dead giveaway, isn't it, with the one palm straight in the back of the number.
So Brodie Myercheck, 20 goals for the season already. This is usually his bread and butter on the set shot. No problems. Through it goes. And Collingwood push it back out beyond 5 goals the margin. 13 minutes played, third term. The Magpies 11-5-71. GWS 7-8-38. And again, just an answer to any kind of momentum that the Giants are trying to build.
Yeah, I was just about to say exactly the same thing, Corby. Every time the Giants sort of muster up a little bit of momentum, they kick one that Collingwood just seemed to answer straight back. But it was just the change of angles that you just can't get set when you're playing against Collingwood. It was the last player. They would have had 6 uncontested marks, and it went from one side of the ground to the other, and every one of those kicks, and just doesn't allow the Giants' defence to stand in any sort of space with any real knowledge that it's definitely going to go down that line, because up the ground they're constantly changing the angles and just so hard to set up against.
6 disposals, 2-1 for Brodie Myercheck. He's been such a good pickup for Collingwood. Back in the middle of the ground. Kelly gets the clearance for the Giants off the hands of Flynn. High kick inside 50. Hogan brings it down. O'Halloran front and centre. Hand pass picked off by Nick Dacos for Collingwood. Sidebottom's hand pass. Couldn't quite get it past Angwin. Over the shoulder hand pass to O'Halloran. Into the pocket for Hogan. Trying to get it to Daniels. Can't do so. Darcy Moore for Collingwood wins it. Hand pass to Markov. Kicks around his body. Giants 2-on-1. Flying and taking the mark. Himmelberg has it at right half forward. Steps around Hill. Into the pocket for Hogan. Takes the mark with his fingertips. It was a tracer bullet. Darcy Moore couldn't do anything on this occasion.
He certainly couldn't. How's that kick from Harry Himmelberg around the corner? It wouldn't have gone more than 1.5 metres, 2 metres off the ground. Sticky mitts from Jesse Hogan to hang on to it too. It had to be elite too, because the Collingwood defence has been so sound. That's a weapon that Harry Himmelberg has got with his leg.
He's hit a goal in each quarter. So far, Jesse Hogan a chance to now make it 3. And his third as he comes in the right forward pocket. Textbook finish straight into the Giants fans at the Punt Road end. Answering back goal for goal so far in this third quarter. And Collingwood's lead is 27 points. The Magpies 11-5-71 to the Giants 6-8-44. Jesse Hogan 3 straight, 15 minutes gone, third term.
Great response again by the Giants, but just looking forward a couple of years, you'd love Aaron Cadman to be 2 or 3 years into his development right now, wouldn't you? Play alongside Harry Himmelberg and Jesse Hogan, be quite a threat, wouldn't it, to have those 3 tools who are all very agile and just great athletes. And that disposal going inside 50, that's something of pure silk that not many midfielders have. So for someone like that, there's obviously going to be a lot of offers coming for Harry Himmelberg currently at the moment. The Giants desperately keen to keep him.
What would it take to keep him, Lids?
Long-term deal, I reckon. See out his days. Good coin.
He's in the middle of the ground here, but it's Collingwood who come up with a footy. Mitchell, hand pass away to Johnson. Took on one too many. And Josh Kelly mows him down. So free kick GWS, centre-half back. 27-point lead for Collingwood. The Giants, they haven't kicked back-to-back goals in any one quarter so far today. So they've done it either side of a break, but not in the same turn. They build some momentum here. He shares it with Iden and then goes long Kelly up to the wing for Peatley. Takes a nice mark in front of the bench. Cadman subbed out in the last 2 games. He's had just the 1 kick so far early in the third as Peatley hand pass to Callaghan. Long kick to half forward, and in the end Hogan and Moore share it out of bounds. Half forward for the Giants. And just speaking of the sub, Lids and Murph, is it almost Callum Ward time for GWS?
I think it might be time to inject him in. Get him in. Give him plenty of time.
Yep.
He'll give you a 10-15.
It's more tactical now, isn't it? Rather than waiting for an injury or the final 3-quarter time break. It's from the throw in. A chance for the Giants. Peatley got it forward. Bedford missed Canelio. Little toe poke past Cadman. Was there a touch onto it? Markov's going to rush it through regardless. Through for a minor score. He was just to the right of the defensive goal square and under pressure, so well and truly entitled to do that.
Not a heap of pressure though, Clinchy.
No, Collingwood by 26 points.
Yeah, I think it's perfect time for Cal to come in. Like they're right amongst this game at the moment. The Giants playing some good football, and we all know the type of competitor that Collingwood is. He'd be perfectly suited to be out there at the moment.
Yeah. And you're not waiting to put him in for an injection of pace or anything. You're looking for him
Certainly not.
Let him go to work. Let him roll the sleeves up and do what he does best.
Yep, use that cement head.
As Moore takes the mark from the kick out, goes wide to Markov. Short kick back to Darcy Moore. 26 points, Collingwood's lead.
Doing a good job of slowing them up at the moment, the Giants.
Moore off the back flank. Goes long to the wing. Trying to leap over the back. Brown looking to try and spoil. Falls down towards Himmelberg. Hand pass back into traffic. Turns it over. Crisp has it. Hand pass to Myercheck. Handball away to Elliott. Through centre half forward. Unguarded. Goal square. It's off target. Misses out to the right or behind for Jamie Elliott. 11-6 to 6-9. Collingwood by 27 points. 18 minutes gone, third term.
Whitfield is back on the field. Does the kick-in duties and short to Haynes. Right back pocket for the Giants. 6-9-45 to Collingwood 11-6-72. Sends it to the southern wing. Lloyd had to fly from behind. Spoiled it down from Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass to Angwin. Tackled. Dispossessed. Johnson takes it for Collingwood. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Tackled by Kelly. Giants take it back. Himmelberg trying to find a way forward. Hand passes it wider to Hogan. So all the forwards up the ground. Through the hands of Bedford. Spills to Daniels. Can't get a meaningful hand pass away. And Maynard takes it back for Collingwood. To Nick Dacos. To Mitchell. Back to Maynard on the southern wing. To Quaynor. Now to Markov. Finds a gap as he cuts the footy under his arm. Drives it inside 50. Myercheck and Ginnivan. Iden dropped the mark. Hill's onto it. Dodging and weaving. Hand pass to Elliott. Trying to cut back. Hand passes it to Hill. Ducks the head. Umpire doesn't blow his whistle. Now we'll be penalised.
Wow.
No. Had to be one or the other, didn't it?
I'm with you.
As Fleeton laid the tackle, I thought surely if it wasn't too high, it had to be holding the footy because he had prior opportunity.
He's got stage fright there, that umpire, I think.
Well, both of them. Ray was right there as well.
I guarantee you, if Ray thought there was a decision to be made, he would have made it. It comes down to Ginnivan. He's tackled, lost it. Comes out towards Perryman, high up and under the half-back. Markov looking to try and spoil. Skims off his knuckles. Collingwood win it through Moore. Hand pass to Nick Dacos on the wing. Handball to Mitchell. Mitchell kicks inside the forward 50 for Collingwood. Himmelberg trying to kill it. Fleeton spoils straight from McCreary. He walks it in and bangs it up into the cheap seats. Collingwood out by 33. They have had every answer today. And after cheering the goal, they have a big cheer for the umpires as well. Have some of that. Say the Magpie Army, it's Collingwood by 33 points. The goal to McCreary. Time on third term.
Well, just a little basic. They didn't get quite right there. The Giants had two guys flying. Both spoiled it, but they didn't spoil it out of the area. They spoiled it back towards goal, and that was where McCreary was sweating on it. Just need to just thump it 20 rows back and get it out of bounds.
It was well orchestrated, the reaction from the crowd. So it was the initial, yeah, we got a goal, and then it was like, hang on, the umpires. And then
Bobby Hill tries to duck out of the tackle, but the tackle still gets him high.
Yeah, it's
got
to be illegal.
Free kick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be a legal tackle. He just went lower to change direction. I still think that's a free kick.
Cameron Fleeton, who's on to boo, thought, well, I've got him. I've locked Bobby Hill up, and the whistle never came. A 6-6-6 warning against the Giants.
Can we get rid of the 6-6-6 warning?
Just pay a free kick.
Yeah.
Flynn back into the ruck, replacing Himmelberg. Cox in for Collingwood. Tries to knock it down to the advantage of Taylor Adams. Hand pass to Pendlebury. He squeezes the kick out to the southern wing, out in front of Hoskin Elliott, who can mark on his chest. Between wing and half forward on the southern side of the MCG. Collingwood have answered every time the Giants have tried to make inroads. He works it to Goey by foot. He marks it left half forward. Lead up from Johnson's ignored. He decides to chip it boundary side, and Markov takes the mark. Still 75, 80 metres out from a congested forward 50. He wheels out to the right, points in the direction he heads. Mason Cox is there. It's over his hands. Myercheck dropped the mark. Tackle laid by Fleeton. Perryman with a hand pass out, works it to Peatling under pressure, squeeze the kick through the middle of the ground. Lloyd's hand pass, too slick for Bedford. Onto it, Darcy Moore of Collingwood, almost brought down. Got the hand pass away to Maynard, shovels it forward to Hill, sidestep inside 50, past Fleeton, underground kick towards goal. Can't clear Buckley, over the top goes Johnson, top of the goal square. They circle towards the umpire, Yeah, Magpie Army appealing, but he'll ball it up 15 metres out from Collingwood's goal. They lead by 33 points.
3 goals each in the quarter. Cox wins the head out. Ginnivan tackled, spun around by Fleeton. The ump says ball up.
Well played by the umps. They're working the crowd up. It's good. I reckon they did that deliberately.
We really haven't seen too many incidents at all today. Obviously, there's plenty of interest in how the Magpie Army would respond after the events of the week. From the ball up, comes down to Tom Green, kicks to centre half back. They all compete for the footy. Maynard flies high, falls down to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Quaynor. He shoots goalward. He's off target. One bounce out of play. It's not a bad result for Collingwood. Boundary throw in, forward pocket. 3 goals each in the term. Collingwood led by as many as 38 points midway through the second quarter. They lead by 33 now. 23 gone third term.
Nick Dacos up to 29 disposals, leading possession getter on the ground. Cox wins down the tap inside the forward 50, trying to link up with Taylor Adams. Elliott's hand pass back towards Noble, top of the 50. Bedford slides in. Footy stuck underneath him. The umpire's going to say, holding the ball. Not showing enough intent to try and knock it out.
Tough work when you got 2 or 3 blokes on top of you, but anyway.
This is within his range here, Clenchy, John Noble.
This end of the ground too.
He's not going to have the footy. Taylor Adams almost gave the hand pass back to him, but Daniel Lloyd was awake to that to close that avenue down. Not sure Taylor Adams has the journey from right on 50 though.
Last time he tried the roost one, he tore his groin off the bone, didn't he?
Feel little Mason Cox set up here, surely.
Spoke to him last week before the game, a slightly different role with Tom Mitchell involved. 17th in the AFL for tackles inside 50. From right on 50, Taylor Adams gives it everything he's got, and it just hits the right goalpost late. Just drifting away. It looked like he comfortably had the distance.
See how far that travelled?
Maybe there is some logic to what you're saying. At that City end, you can get a bit more purchase. Collingwood by 34 points. 24 gone, third term.
Whitfield out of defensive 50, turns it over to Tay Adams, takes the intercept mark, pops it back inside. Elliott marks, centre half forward. The turnover off the boot of Whitfield is now going to cost them another shot at goal. If you weren't with us earlier, Brett Delidio, who's played 270 plus times in this competition and a couple of All-Australian Blazers, best and fairest, the whole nine, told us that at the City end of the ground, going downhill with the swirly breeze conditions, you can kick them outside the 50 and they'll travel through, but it's not quite the same at the punt road end. So Elliott here, downhill, straight through. No dramas from centre half forward. And all of a sudden, Collingwood stretch it out to 40 points. As wide as it's been tonight. Jamie Elliott with a couple, 13.785, GWS 6.945, time on third term, grandstand AFL, Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy.
Well, it was obviously an errant kick from Lachie Whitfield, but it's more just the pressure trying to get the ball outside 50 at the moment. Collingwood have obviously sensed that the Giants have picked up their game and we're starting to come in momentum. Not that it was shifting, but they were certainly trying to work their way back into the game, and they've just really worked hard on their pressure and their zone defence, and it's really stood up there. And a player like Lachie Whitfield, who is usually immaculate by a foot, just tried to bite off a little bit too more there and force the errant kick, and smart by Taylor Adams to get the ball back in straight away while the defence was less scrambling.
7 inside 50s to 1 Collingwood's way in the last 10 minutes. They're out to a game high 40-point lead. Mason Cox and Flynn in the middle of the ground. Comes the way of Flynn, who just throws a big boot at it, tries to soccer it forward. Josh Jacobs over around the footy with O'Halloran there. Nick Dacos, hand pass straight to Peatling. Gave it away to Flynn, inside 50. Almost a juggling mark to Cadman. Can't hang on. Crisp with a hand pass for Collingwood, out in front of Markov. Lloyd comes in for the Giants. Hand pass to Perryman. Hand pass to Callaghan. Tom Green with a fend off on Nick Dacos and works it wider still. And Lloyd takes the mark. 55 metres out from the Giants' goal. Has options in the corridor. He feigned to go there first time. Now he will. Gives it to Tom Green. Still 60 metres out from home at the punt road end. Looking to try and send the Giants as far as he can into attack. Hogan's up against 3. Cox in from the side. Takes the mark. That's his lot in life. And he's playing it superbly. An intercept mark 15, 20 metres out from his defensive goal. Collingwood by 40 points.
Hand pass away to Noble, who's wrapping around the back. Kicks his long right-footed drop punt all the way up towards the wing. Falls down to Whitfield. Hand pass away to Cornelio. Hurried kick inside 50. Reaching forward over the top. Peatling couldn't take the mark. Falls to Murphy. Cadman locks him up. Ball up centre half forward for the G-men. Jess Webster on the boundary.
The Giants have activated their sub. Cal Ward's coming into the game. It's Callum Brown who is coming out.
Thanks, Jess. Collingwood kicked 2 goals since it was flagged in this box about Callum Ward coming in, and all of a sudden it's 40 points, a game-high margin. Josh Dacos, hand pass to Nick, kicks down the wing. Flynn and Myercheck go at it, and Flynn knocks it out of bounds. So a throw-in just forward of halfway for the Giants. Story of the quarter, 3 times GWS were able to get within 27 points. Have not been able to kick back-to-back goals in any one quarter all day. And now Collingwood have kicked the last 2 to lead it by a game-high 40.
4 goals to 3, Collingwood's way from the throw-in. Mason Cox tries to backheel it. Nick Dacos to brother Josh. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Back to Josh, turns it over. Perryman trying to slide in. Josh Dacos won the footy. Hand pass too sharp for Mitchell. Could have almost been a throw as he tried to scoop it up to Mason Cox. Goes out of play and a boundary throw-in. Between wing and half forward for the Giants. Collingwood leading by 40 points.
Good pressure then again from the Giants around the stoppage when it looked like Collingwood were going to handball chain themselves out of that contest. They just forced a few errors, get another boundary, throw in another opportunity to get a clearance.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Cox wins down the tap, looking for Mitchell. Beaten to it by Tom Green. Hand pass over his shoulder to Cornelio. He jams it onto the boot over his shoulder. Quaynor is able to take the mark, working Peatling underneath. Switches play without hesitation. Out to Sidebottom. He marks under the Olympic stand. Right back pocket for the Magpies. They lead by 40 points.
Game 298 for Steele Sidebottom. God willing, a couple of weeks away from becoming just the 4th Magpie to 300 games. And short to Noble, and Noble long down the wing. Johnson flies, falls off hands to McCreary, who puts on the Jets and burns off Ash. Gets a kind Shepherd. 2 bounces. Centering kick to Mason Cox. Tearing to centre half forward. Bangs bodies with Nick Haynes and takes the mark. 40 metres out. And he got up and just stands over Haynes as well, the All-Australian defender for the Giants. He says that Sharon is mine.
Well, he's a big boy, and it was a big boy mark. You've got to give him credit. That was going back with the flight and just had all eyes on the football. And same with Nick Haynes. He had all eyes on the football as well. But big clash of bodies, and then Big Mason stood over the top of him and said, how do you like them?
And now he wants to kick it straight over his head. Mason Cox misses. Clips the post on the way through.
And Hainsey just let him know about it.
Would have brought the house down. 41 points, Collingwood's lead. 13-8 to 6-9. Half-hour mark, 3rd term.
Whitfield brings the Giants back into play to Ash in the right back pocket, up to Cornelio, who takes the mark at right half-back. Thought about the hand pass to Callanan. Now we'll move it to him by foot. His defensive side of the southern wing. My favourite part of our chat with Mason Cox yesterday on the lead was we asked him about the attention Nick Dacos had been getting in recent weeks. He said, I've told Nick if he needs a standover man, just let me know. I'll get into them. As it's worked back to Iden for the Giants. Sends it out to Buckley. At left half back, McCreary's onto him. Hand pass forward to Haynes. They're under the pump now. Hand pass to Whitfield. Around Ginnivan. Works it back to Buckley. Buckley drives it up the members wing. Flying is Daniels. At the back, Cadman gathers. A chance for the Giants. Hand pass to O'Halloran. Just hesitated. And he's brought down. Excellent tackle from Jack Crisp. He wanted to get the hand pass back in the moment of hesitation. The opportunity was gone. Collingwood on the members wing leading by 41 points.
Pies' pressure was just too good again.
Jack Crisp down to half forward. Kicking for Mason Cox. Spills out the back of the pack to Whitfield. Hand pass to Ash. Oh, he kicks to a 2-on-1. Peatling the target. He's got Quaynor and also Josh Dacos to beat. Close to the boundary line. Professional fumble from Peatling, and it's out of play. A good result for the Giants. A boundary throw-in on that southern wing. Record breaking day, by the way, for Jack Crisp. So this is his 197th consecutive game, so he's well on track to make it 200 straight. But 191 in a row for Collingwood, which actually equals the record by Jock McHale for the most consecutive games by a Magpie. 191 in a row. And he was the steak knives in the deal with Dane Beams, of course, to come to Collingwood. What a player he's been over a long period of time. You heard the horn in the background. It's three-quarter time at the MCG as that ball was spun back into play on the southern wing. It's Collingwood by a game high 41 points. 13-8-86. GWS 6-9-45. The Giants got within 27 points on 3 separate occasions in that third quarter, but the Magpies kicking the last 2 goals of the term. So 4-3 in that third quarter. The goal kickers, as I have them, Clinchy. 2 for Elliott, 2 for Bobby Hill, 2 for Myercheck. And then singles for DeGoey, Josh Dacos, Hoskin Elliott, Ginnivan, Johnson, Cox. While for GWS, 3 for Jesse Hogan. He's the chief goal kicker on the ground. And then 1 each for Ash, Callahan and O'Halloran.
The Magpies leading by 41 points. The final match of round 9 of the AFL. Great to have your company on Sunday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL, ABC Radio, ABC News Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
For extreme entertainment,
Let's do it.
stream comedy whenever you like on ABC iView.
Oh, nice one.
Extreme feel-goods with Summer Love and Fisk.
Oh, I'm having a greengasm.
Extreme funnies from Superwog and Peep Show.
You, my friend, are a stone-cold maniac.
And extreme good times with Braid and Starstruck.
And let's get ready for some fun.
It's Extreme Comedy Gold.
I know.
And you can stream it all for free on ABC iView. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Socket forward by Perryman. Comes to O'Halloran, snaps across his body. That's a great finish. From 45 metres out, took his opportunity and able to steer it through for the first goal of the second half.
70 from home. Looks for Myercheck in the pocket. Crashing the pack. No mark.
In the back of that.
Falls down to Ash. Hand pass to Tom Green. Turnover. Slips through his hands. Adams. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. Gives it to John Dacos. And the Pies burn the Giants on the turnover.
Left forward pocket. He wants to centre it quickly. Spots Ash. Can he get it to him? He can. Comes in from directly in front. The Giants would love it here. And Lockie Ash delivers it.
Mitchell kicks inside the forward 50 for Collingwood. Himmelberg trying to kill it. Fleeton spoils straight for McCreary. He wants it in. And bangs it up into the cheap seats. Collingwood out by 33. They have had every answer today. Oh, Whitfield out of defensive 50, turns it over to Tay Adams, takes the intercept mark, pops it back inside. Elliott marks, centre half forward. So Elliott here, downhill, straight through. No dramas from centre half forward. And all of a sudden, Collingwood stretch it out to 40 points. As wide as it's been tonight.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Sounds of the third quarter is heard on ABC Sport. The Magpies making their move in that third term with 4-3, despite the best efforts of the Giants to offer a counter-punch. It's the Magpies 13-8-86 to the Giants 6-9-45. I'm Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Minimas. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy are your experts. Ahead of their thoughts is Jess Webster on the boundary.
Thanks, Clinchy. The Pies have activated their sub at three-quarter time. Reece McInnes has been injected into the game and Scott Pendlebury has been subbed out.
Thanks, Clinchy. Thanks, Jess. More from Clinchy. How am I going?
You've had a couple of big games, haven't you?
I'm just getting to the finish
Tell you
line.
what, the graveyard is not good for you.
It's
I'm not sure how you would have performed last game of the weekend.
I'm a more when the sun's out kind of operator. I think it's a little dark and I'm losing the plot. Thanks to Jess Webster downstairs. Collingwood by 41. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy.
Yeah, it was a game of both to and fro in that one, wasn't it? It's not a game, a quarter of that. The Giants...
it's spreading.
It is spreading. Thanks, Corb. The Giants, their effort was there, and that's what pleased me after half-time. They came out and they actually gave us a bit of a sniff of what they can do, and give them the clearances you're saying there, Murph, 27-23. So they're in front. Obviously.
So around the contest, I thought
they cleaned it up, didn't they?
They were much better in that third quarter, but it was probably sometimes just a bit of their overuse from the clearances that sort of forced themselves into a bit of pressure. And as we know, when you're playing Collingwood, their pressure's always right up, and they're actually not afraid to overcommit with numbers at the ball carrier. They just back themselves into the next wave of teammates are coming to force an errant handball. And the sort of one of the last plays that sticks out, the last bit of that quarter, was when there was 4 or 5 rushing to one player and it was left a few Giants by themselves, but then the next wave of players still came and forced a turnover. So their pressure is just elite, and that's why they're sitting where they are at the moment, Collingwood. But offensively, conversely, they're just so composed with ball in hand, aren't they? And there's obviously
decisions.
A few players who stand out in that department, like Scott Pendlebury, and a player like that, it sort of spreads that composure and smart decision making when you've got someone like that who just always finds time and space that other guys around him sometimes it sort of just it flows over, and there's players who previously aren't that composed with the football who now are just started to look like A-grade players who are running through that midfield now, and they've got such an abundance of talent through there. But their decision making going inside 50 is certainly elite, and one player that we've spoken about big time today is Big Mason Cox, and he's I really enjoy when he asserts himself on the contest. We probably don't see a heap of it from time to time, but when he does, he certainly gathers the troops around him, and he's been fantastic today.
Just on that, Murph, M from Melbourne says, I'm always amazed and say what a great job Craig McShay does as our coaching group, and he's certainly got the best out of Mason Cox. That's what good coaches do. They see talent and get the best out of it.
Certainly do.
Yeah. Final term about to get underway. Collingwood by 41 points. Himmelberg starting into the ruck up against Mason Cox. In fact, it was Flynn who competed. And he gets down the tap to Tom Green. Kicks it long inside 50, and Hogan's worked underneath. Darcy Moore takes the mark for Collingwood. Goes short to Tom Mitchell. Back edge of the centre square. Around the back to Nick Dacos. Possession number 33 coming up. Out towards Steele side bottom on the members' wing. Kelly gets a hand onto it. Spoils it out of play. In front of the two benches.
Such an important player, Darcy Moore. We all understand that, but when you get that centre clearance as a midfield group and you get it in there and you feel like you're giving your forward first opportunity and you get that almost uncontested mark in the end, it's just really deflating.
Collingwood 13.886 to the Giants 6.945 from the throw in to Goey. Gathers underground hand pass out in front of Crisp. Great pickup with his left mid in front of Cal Ward, the sub into the action. Hand pass to Whitfield, works it to Haynes, to Cornelio, all under pressure. Now to Himmelberg, who looks defensively, risky kick. Set Eidner challenge, Elliott in from the side. Picked up by Buckley, he's dispossessed. Hoskin Elliott gathers for Collingwood. Hand pass to Josh Dacos, works it back to Jamie Elliott. Turns on a dime, kicks long, McGuinness can't take the mark. He was up a long way, McGuinness, and almost came down on top of Eiden.
Tory.
And then a long kick, a torpedo from Connor Eiden, and it's a chance for Perryman, who gets the hand pass away to O'Halloran. They might work this end to end as the mark's taken by Peatling on 50. Just has to find Cadman, and he marks on his chest. Pretty much directly in front, maybe slightly right of centre. And he'll kick from about 45 metres out.
I'm not sure Adam Kingsley draws that up for training next week. So, righto, Hainsey, kick a big torp out of the back line, mate.
Why not? You see the result.
Yeah, I suppose we are having a shot on goal, which is fantastic, but risk reward.
As Corby made mention of, just the one kick so far, 4 disposals for the number 1 draft pick. Aaron Cadman, can he kick a goal here? It starts left and it fades right through for a minor score. Collingwood's lead is 40 points. 2 minutes gone into the final term.
Got to see what a torp sometimes does to the defence. They just have no idea where it's going when we do latch onto one. Just gets everyone out of position.
Moore on the kick out, points to Mason Cox and says this is coming your way. He got hands to it, no mark. Spills down underneath Cornelio. He's dispossessed. Crisp wins the footy. He's dacked, but got a hand pass down to half forward. Himmelberg inadvertently soccers it inside 50. Ginnivan from 45 out. Kicks it off the deck. Guinea's kicked it off the deck from 45 out, and it's bounced through for a goal. And they love this guy, the Collingwood fans. Jack Ginnivan with a miraculous goal from a long way out. Even he can't believe it as he shakes his head. Ginnivan's got a couple. Collingwood by 46. 14.892. GWS 6.10.46. 3 gone, final term.
Well, you just got to shake your head sometimes. He's in a bit of space there. Had every right just to pick it up, but just thought, I'll just lay the boot in here from 45 and use the dewy surface and let it just roll through. It is uphill on that side of the ground, though, as Lids has discussed all day, but he's got a few tricks, Jack Ginnivan, and I'm not sure that one's really in the...
Would you have even thought to do that?
No.
Yeah.
Play the percentages, pick it up, look for a teammate.
Jack Ginnivan with the highlight to start the final term. Collingwood get the clearance. Mitchell with a hand pass to DeGoey to Nick Dacos. Can give it back to DeGoey at the back edge of the centre square. Kicks out to the members' side where Steele's side bottom. Marks on his chest. Collingwood by 46 points. He looks inside 50. He has Mason Cox there. Sends it in that direction. It's over the head of DeGoey. It never got to Cox. And Cal Ward takes the intercepting mark for the Giants. Subbed into the action in the third quarter at the expense of Callum Brown. Through the middle of the ground, he spots up Whitfield, who takes the mark. Hand pass to Cornelio, wants to kick laterally. Callahan takes the mark. He can work it over the top to Ash for the Giants.
He's got O'Halloran on out wide. He's coming back inboard though. Short kick to Whitfield, plays on immediately, kicks inside the forward 50. Kick favours Murphy and he takes the intercept mark. Over the head of Perryman. This is Nathan Murphy in the defensive arc. Pies by 46, Pendlebury, the tactical sub out of the game, so Reef McInnes having a run, starting up front. And Cal Ward into the game for the Giants with Callum Brown tapped out. The Pies work it up to the wing. Hoskin Elliott ends up with it against the boundary line southern side. Long kick down to Elliott. Himmelberg caught in a wrestle. Himmelberg gives away the free kick. Free kick for Elliott.
Didn't really need to do that, Harry. Getting caught up like that, but a bit foreign to him probably playing in that back line. He just got tangled up, got found out of position. Smart by Jamie Elliott.
Mason Cox, look at him just move through the middle of the ground towards the top of the goal square. The kick's coming in that direction. Mason's getting ready to go. Oh. He's got it. The American Pie takes the juggle mark just outside the goal square. He can do no wrong today, Mason Cox.
It was like LeBron James walking back to the key and just demanding a few blocks here and there and just put it in the space and I'll do the rest.
That was, wasn't it? And then the strut after, it was like he hit a three from 2 foot outside.
You can't teach 7 feet. Mason Cox, he's played like Dean Cox today. He's kicked a couple on what has been a career day for the Collingwood big man. And all of a sudden, the Pies lead it by 52 points. 15-8-98, GWS 6-10-46, 6 minutes into the final term. And most of the credit goes to the lead with Matt Clench, 12 o'clock on Saturdays. They had Mason Cox on in the biggest interview he's ever done.
No.
And now he hits the bench in front of Jess Webster. Jess.
There are Pies fans standing up in their seats clapping Mason Cox off the ground. They absolutely love him.
His head's about to explode down there.
Those goggles are going to start fogging up.
Yeah.
Just calling for more as he's running to the bench. It might impact on his 3-2-1 today with that sort of behaviour.
Yeah. They've got a trumpet down there for him to blow on. I'm not sure.
21 disposals, his best ever in a game. That's certainly on the offering so far today, but it's the 2 goals where he's made his presence known as a big man this afternoon. Back in the middle of the ground, Ash Johnson's having a run in the ruck against Flynn. Flynn wins it down over the back to Cal Ward. Brought down by Josh Dacos. It's just to the right of the centre circles, and the umpire will ball it up once more. Plenty of numbers around this stoppage as it's thrown up. Johnson's outsized and Flynn comfortably wins down the tap to Tom Green. Hand pass missed Angwin. In slides Josh Dacos. Hand pass missed Taylor Adams. Trying to get a hand pass forward to DeGoey. He just cuts away from Flynn. Centres it out wide to Bobby Hill. He marks 55 metres out from home. Reef McInnes is the longest target. He's in the top of the goal square. Gives it to Maynard. Chips it over the top and side bottom. Marks barely 15, out to the left. He'll shoot from just inside 50.
Well worked again by Collingwood, just changing the angles, being composed with the football, but just conversely with the Giants. They just don't want to let this slip and become a really bad loss. I think they've actually played a pretty good brand of football today. They just haven't had the class of what Collingwood have had. So leaders really need to stand up here and make sure this is not a really, really bad loss.
Does this 32-year-old Steele side bottom have the journey from right on 50? It's out to the right. It won't have the purchase. And Flynn punches it through for a minor score for the Pies. 53 points is their lead. 8 minutes gone in the final term. Here's Coleman Middlemass on ABC Sport.
Will Hoskin Elliott, this little roll of the ankle. He's okay. He's continued on. The kick-out's not good, though. Josh Dacos breaks it up. Knocks it away to Noble. 60 out at half forward. Kicks inside. Ginnivan takes the sprawling mark as he jumps in front of Reef McInnes. And Jack Ginnivan will have a set shot 40 metres out right half forward.
Yeah, it's got the makings, hasn't it, Murph, of getting a little bit ugly. John Noble, though, how nice was that on the left peg? Just put a little daisy cutter to Jack Ginnivan. Always gets in the right spot, right time. Ginnivan doesn't he?
He's a big hit. Josh
Fleeton.
Dacos and
Fleeton.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of concussion test there.
So Jack Ginnivan, the long sleeves on, he moves in to make it 3. He misses to the near side and behind. A couple of goals for Guinea and 100 points up for the Magpies. So 15-10, 100, GWS 6-10-46. A 9-goal lead for Collingwood, 9 played final term.
2 goals, 2 Collingwood's way to the Giants, 1 behind. The kick in from Ash, missed the target. Tom Green onto it, Bobby Hill, snaps across his body and misses to the left. Just squeezed it in for a minor score as David Roden went scampering to his right. 55 points is the Magpies lead. 10 minutes gone, final term.
When you played with David Roden, Lids, did you ever think he was going to become a goal umpire?
No, I didn't. But I keep asking him to bust out the moonwalk one day. I want to see that with a goal.
Himmelberg carries it from the kick out, drives it up to the wing. Hogan gave it to Peatley and he's bowled over, lost it. Comes back to Lloyd of the Giants, still at half back. Hand pass to Ward and O'Halloran's mowed down. A little too casual and Braden Maynard came and got him, holding the ball.
Well, he's got on the inside of his jumper, competitive beast. And he does. He competes, doesn't he? Just over and over. Doesn't let up. That's what he bases his game off. Keeps him in the side.
Braden Maynard points long and then goes short across the ground. Darcy Moore takes the mark. Every player on the ground in front of him. He's right on halfway. Pies coming home to the punt road end. Short kick to Nick Dacos. He flares it to the half forward flank to Tom Mitchell. Pies are pretty chilled. They lead by 55 points and they've got the footy with 11 minutes passed in his final term. So he goes back and across to Nick Dacos and now the inside 50 kick. Trying to place it to side bottom. Competes in the air. Spills down to Tom Mitchell. Hand pass deeper inside the 50. Lloyd's under pressure. Just got rid of it to Iden to Tom Green. Hand pass away to Daniels. He gives it to Peatley. Hand pass to Haynes. Kick smothered. Close to the boundary line. Peatley finds the safety of it. And Jamie Elliott with the 1%er diving across in front of the leg of Nick Haynes. It's the warm applause from the Magpie Army. Boundary throwing half forward for the Pies. They led it by 55 in the final term at 12 minutes gone.
Came from 30 metres away to put that smother on. Typifies what they're all about, the Pies, I reckon.
Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. Shallow throw in. Johnson taps it down, trying to combine with De Goey. In the middle of that was Ash for the Giants. Picks it off. Hand pass to Kelly. Works it forward to Daniels. Around the members wing to Peatley. Back to Daniels. Brought down by Bobby Hill. Back of the jumper. Got the hand pass away. Johnson for Collingwood takes it back. Hand pass to Markov. Back to Johnson. Beautiful little sidestep. Open up a path forward around Perryman. Chips it forward to Mitchell. He's got Nick Dacos inside. Crisp outside. He touches it on the turf. He'll go himself. Sends it wide to McCreary at left half forward. He marks 75 metres out from goal at the punt road end. Pushes back behind his mark. Veers out to the right. Sends it long. McInnes the target. Big fly, Hoskin Elliott. Reef McInnes stayed down, then lost his footing. Couldn't get boot to ball. Iden will rush it through. Under the pressure of Hoskin Elliott. It's through for a minor score. 56 points. Collingwood's lead at the 12-minute mark of the final term.
Quick kick in, finds Haynes at half-back. Oh, just pokes the pass out in front of Angwin who takes the mark. Half-back flank. Hand pass away to Ash. He works a handball up to Perryman, standing on the Logo's southern wing. Kicks inboard, dangerous. Side bottom punches it away. Back towards Angwin, grabs it, tackled. Ump says I'll have it. Ball up in the middle of the G.
Well, that's why they'll be sitting on top of the ladder, Lids, because the pressure's become a habit, hasn't it? And they're not just...
everyone buys in.
Yeah, they're not just folding up now because they're in front by such a big margin. They're still pressuring, still harassing.
56 points, Collingwood's lead. From the ball up comes down to Daniels. Look away, hand pass over his shoulder, but Noble's there for Collingwood. Hand pass out to Mitchell. Mitchell gets back onto his left peg, kicks a high ball out to half forward, but caught wrong-footed, Myercheck. And so Buckley takes the intercept mark for the Giants. He goes short and got it to Haynes on the half volley.
Hand pass inboard to Kelly, who feeds the hand pass away. Cornelio tries to work it forward, down low for Daniels. He made it work though. Hand pass back to Haynes at left half back. Sends the Giants around the southern wing in the direction of Cadman. Nudged underneath by Murphy, who takes the mark on the second bite. And right half back for the Magpies, leading by 56 points.
Good news is, Clinchy, we've got another hour from now. So we'll be able to wrap up all of round 9 and the Brett Delidio postgame show.
A good text has just come through too, though. I look forward to reading out a bit later.
Long kick to Flynn. He's taken out in the marking contest and we'll get the free kick. We welcome your contributions. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are keen to control the agenda.
Yeah.
Corby will have his questions, as always. Kick to
Goal.
Flynn, turnover. McCreary pitches it. Away he goes. Shut the gate. Into the goal square. Up to the third tier. Can't do that against Collingwood. Bo McCreary with his second. And Nick Haynes had nothing to do but watch on as he streamed inside the 50 and made him pay the full toll. You can't do that against this black and white side. Collingwood by 62 points. 16-12, 108 to the Giants, 6-10, 46. 14 minutes gone, final term. That's 3 goals to none in the final term.
Well, I was just going to highlight before the unrewarded work that Bo McCreary does off the ball for his teammates. He leads up constantly, almost plays like that conduit forward, the smaller centre-half forward, always hitting the wings, not always getting used, but he takes up space and allows someone else to come in behind him. But then his pressure is amazing. He's always putting a body on someone. It's great to see, a role player get rewarded like that with those walk-in goals, the one in the third quarter just then, and then that one in the last to bang it through. Well done, Bo McCreary.
He's got the perfect little link player for that forward line, which really is that position just to get up and down the ground and really support his teammates.
Back in the middle, Flynn palms it down for the G-men to Daniels. Hurried kick to centre half forward. Hogan hit it up. Well, his teammate Bedford got in his way. Ball spills out to Kelly. Sockers it across the ground. Here's Angwood off the wing. Hand pass away to Tom Green. Gives it back to Bedford under pressure. Coughs it up. Elliott in the defensive arc. Tackled. Lost it. Giants back on the footy. Lloyd hand pass out wide to Cornelio. Hand pass back to Bedford. Still moving forward pocket. Hooks a kick back to the corridor. Climbing up Elliott. Got a hand on it. Spills to Callahan. Wears his left foot. Gets onto it. Sprays it. Missed the whole set. Out on the full. 62-point lead for Collingwood. Giants, by the way, when we were calling for Cal Ward to come into the game, 15-minute mark of the third term, they were within 27. And since then, Collingwood have kicked 5 unanswered goals. As they work it out of the defensive arc through Quaynor, heads up to the wing. Daniels for GWS, hand pass to Fleeton on debut. Handball to Angwin. A 1-2 with Himmelberg, and now Angwin kicks it to the top of the goal square. Murphy punches it through. Rush behind. Collingwood by 61. 17 gone final term.
He's a great support player down there, Murphy, isn't he, for Moore? He's just always in the right spot at the right time for him. Obviously, Moore's very experienced and sets him up well, but both working really well together.
John Noble brings Collingwood back into play. Kicks it as far as he can up the southern wing towards Mason Cox. It clears him and Flynn and Josh Kelly and goes out of play for a boundary throw-in. 0437 774 774. Send your questions through you want for the post-match show. The highs and lows of round 9. There's a couple of hot topics to work our way through.
Hosted by Brett Delidio. Have you flagged that text that you want to read out?
No, I haven't flagged it, but I'll remember it. Don't worry.
Collingwood and Carlton next Sunday is a game which might have a bit of interest. Noble tries to tap it to the advantage of Markov. It was socked forward.
Are we doing that one?
I've written a few notes on just how the Blues are going to try and structure up next Sunday, and I feel they've got their hands full.
Yep, you might get a few questions coming your way, Mark. Collingwood by 61 points. Thrown back in. Mason Cox in front of Flynn. Can't get a disposal away. Daniels to Whitfield. Through traffic to Kelly. He's still trying for the Giants. Kicks inside 50. Darcy Moore dropped the mark. Opens the door for Cadman. Hand pass to Perryman. Under pressure back to Cornelio. Cuts back onto his right-hand side. Eyes the big sticks. It's across the face. And misses to the right-hand side. 60 points is Collingwood's lead at the 18-minute mark of the final term. 16-12, 108 to the Giants. 6-12, 48.
It is our game, though, next week. We'll all be here.
Beauty.
Can't wait. Collingwood already sold out. I think you can, if you've got sort of members access, you can get a ticket, but the GA's been exhausted already for Carlton Collingwood next week. Sunday, 3:20 Eastern at the G. Kick out to turnover, so Giants win it back. Kelly pokes his pass out wide to Ryan Angwin. In his 5th game. He kicks inboard to Josh Kelly. Takes the mark. Who gave it to him. He's a little closer to goal. He's about 48 metres out when he takes the mark. Just left of centre.
Similar type distance the first quarter, Lids, but now downhill, so probably kick this straight through.
Late in the game, though.
Let's see how he goes. From long range. That is superb. He has laced that straight through. And Josh Kelly kicks a bomb. That's his first goal of the day. The dual best and fairest winner. It breaks the run of 5 consecutive Collingwood goals. Just the aerodynamics towards that city end of the ground, unbelievable from well outside 50. And another goal as Sport Brett Delidio's theory.
Yeah.
GWS 7-12, Collingwood 16-12, a 9-goal lead for Collingwood, approaching time on final turn.
Just noticed Adam Kingsley down the bench. I'm not sure how long he's been down there for, but usually coaches from the box are maybe just getting down there to support his players coming off and not wanting this to be a real rout in this last quarter. And to their credit, they've actually stood up in the last few minutes and peppered the goals and getting a bit of reward for effort there.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Back in the middle, the Giants trying to break away, but Taylor Adams lays the tackle on Cal Ward, and we'll do it once more on the outer of the centre circles. Cox and Flynn. Flynn wins it down, but straight to DeGoey at Collingwood. Kicks to half forward, and Ashford at best. Takes the mark for the Giants in front of McCreary. Switches it out to Callaghan. He can run onto it in plenty of space at left half back. Up towards Josh Dacos. Draws in with a hand pass forward to Whitfield. Trying to find a way past Elliott. Cuts back on his left. Around the boundary line. Up went Lloyd. He spoiled his own teammate Perryman. It was probably Lloyd's mark to have as Ward gets it back to Perryman. Chips it inside 50. Cox and Flynn. Cadman comes over the top. Taps it away. O'Halloran tries to shovel a hand pass forward. He's tackled. It spills the way of Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass to Murphy. Kicks across his body out to Bobby Hill. He marks it left half back for the Pies.
Started like he'd been shot out of a cannon, Bobby Hill. He kicked 2 goals in the first 18 minutes against his old team. And that's what he's got for the day so far. He goes short to McInnes, and McInnes short to Maynard. Next 3, so Carlton next Sunday, and then West Coast and North Melbourne to come for Collingwood. We'll start a heavy favourite in those games. Kick down to half forward. Hands on it from McInnes. No mark. Spills to Ash. Hand pass away to O'Halloran. Short kick. Wanted to get it to Cornelio. Missed him. Quaynor leaves his man. Wins the footy. Has it on the wing. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. The 1-2 with Mitchell. Arches the back. Hands it out to Mason Cox. He's had a hell of a day. Hand pass to Sidebottom. Short pass to McInnes. Few options inside 50. Kicks it straight to the Giants defender in Haynes. He marks at half back. If they win, they're at next 3 as they're predicted to do. They'll get to 11-1. And that puts them in a nice spot historically. Certainly in recent times, we've had 9 teams get to 11-1. 8 of them have played in the grand final. 5 won the premiership.
Yeah, wow.
And the other one that didn't make it to the GF got to the prelim.
Can you cross all that, Lids?
Yeah.
I
gave him the tips.
To Cullinan. Works it up to Perryman. Takes the mark on the southern wing. Comes inboard and works it to Whitfield. Spots Kelly free on the middle of the MCG. Gets the hand pass away to Wyden. Feeds it forward to Himmelberg. Spots Angwin, who's all on his own. He leaves it in the end for Peatling, who marks on his chest. He's 50 from home. He can pop it over the top, and Angwin marks on a tighter angle, but closer to goal. 45 metres out. And Ryan Angwin with a chance to try and kick his first goal on the MCG and in footy.
Yeah, it's hard to maintain the rage when the sting's gone completely out of the game. You can understand Collingwood just giving up a few uncontested marks and shots on goal. They've well and truly put this game to bed. You just don't want to develop bad habits, do you?
Ryan Angwin, the third-year Giant, pick 18 in 2020. For his first goal in footy, it flares out to the left and won't have the journey. Setting himself, flying in the pack was Hogan. Can't take the mark. And the umpire will ball it up just 15 metres out from the Giants' goal as Lloyd laid the tackle on Ash Johnson. And he's in the ruck here against Hogan. Hogan trying to hold him off and use his strength. Gathered on his left. The kick was smothered by Maynard, though. Spills it away from the Giants' goal. Out in front of Taylor Adams, who slides forward, knocks it onto Sidebottom. Cadman gets there first for the Giants. Hand pass bounces off Nick Dacos' chest. Hand pass to Sidebottom. Back to Nick Dacos, to Markov. Turns it over. O'Halloran across the face of goal. And it's out of bounds on the full. In the left forward pocket for the Giants, Collingwood leading by 54 points.
One goal, 2 and 1 out on the full. Xavier O'Halloran. Rex hasn't quite given it to him today. The Magpies as Josh Dacos plays on from the back pocket, running the boundary line, but turns it over. Kicks it to Flynn on the wing. Hand pass to Iden and gives it back to Haynes. It's across the centre square to Himmelberg. In the waning moments here, 24 minutes into the final term, he heads down to Peatland in a one-on-one, and Markov knocks it away and out of play.
Been a good addition, Markov. I like his, obviously he's very quick and athletic, but just fits in really well with Murphy and Moore down there, and just adds another dimension with just the pace that he's got. And that was just pure pace that enabled him to close down that forward thrust from the Giants.
Got the stickers all over his forearm as well, as we've come to expect from the star Collingwood players in recent times. From the boundary throw-in, side bottom short kick down the wing, but turnover. Ash hand pass to O'Halloran, gives it to Daniels, under pressure, turns it over. Here's De Goey, had the blinkers on. Ash came and got him, hand pass away last moment to Mitchell, he coughs it up. Here's Kelly, his handball also a turnover. Nick Dacos, surge kick forward, Ginnivan clever, just whacks it on to Bobby Hill, controls it, selflessly kicks it to Hoskin Elliott, collects, snaps, goals. Cherry on top for the Magpies. A team goal late in the final term. Hoskin Elliott's got a couple, and Collingwood's lead grows to 10 goals. 17-12 to 7-12. 25 goal final term.
I reckon Craven Cray would love that last bit of play. It was Jack Ginnivan who went back hard with the flight of the football, was bounced up in front of him, and there was a Giant player just coming straight towards him and just knocked the ball onto Bobby Hill, and then Bobby Hill had every right just to have a shot at goal, but snuck it around to Hoskin Elliott in a better position, and lovely team goal.
How do you keep that intent, Lids? Like, you lead by 60 points, and the selfless nature and the hard work and the pressure you touched on in that last quarter. Is it the leaders? Is it infectious? How do you try and bottle that?
Yeah, I think it's infectious in terms of you see one guy going hard, you got to continue to follow his lead. You can also get on the end of a couple as well and really fill your boots.
Johnson in the ruck for Collingwood up against Flynn. The Giants ruckman takes it, hacks it forward off the ground. A volley towards half forward. Hogan comes out. Markov almost got a touch on it. Peterling's hand pass to Cornelio. It's smothered, spills towards, standing start from 50. It's out to the left and through for a minor score. Bouncing wide of Quaynor and Tom Green, and through for a minor score. 59 points the Magpies lead at the 26-minute mark of the final term.
They got it done by committee again today, Collingwood. 10 goal kickers, 7 multiple goal kickers, and yet no one with any more than 2. As Noble goes on a run, kicks to half-back, and Ash Johnson takes a pack mark. The back flank, short kick to McCreary. All the players just swarm in front of him into the front half as Magpie Army called for him to turn and dash. Heads down to half forward. Here's the fresh legs, and McInnes takes the mark, and then a little hand pass off his backside to Mitchell. Kicks inside 50, and Jamie Elliott takes the mark. Left half forward, where he kicked the match winner against the Bombers late last year. He'll go back and have a set shot here and take some time off the game clock.
I love that little ad hoc play. You know, most teams that go back off the mark, slow, how can we find the perfect play? But little handball on the deck by Reef McInnes. Tom Mitchell has to just go. And then movement creates movement.
Yeah.
Jamie O'Brien. What was I thinking that? Jamie Elliott.
And he comes.
Oh, yep.
The marksman. Straight through. 3 for Elliott. A new game high. Collingwood by 65 points. And a Mother's Day party for the Magpies. 28 minutes gone, final term, 18-12 to 7-13. Grandstand AFL, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio, Pies by 65.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Lids. It was just a handball over the top to a teammate who was running past, but what it does, it just creates movement, as you said, but it's the willingness to run and to get to the next contest, because you're going to get rewarded with one, either pressuring the man if it's a defensive effort, or two, you get used. So that just creates the outnumber from contest to contest, and that's something that Collingwood do really well. They just outnumber at every contest because there's a willingness to work hard, because you might be a chance to support a teammate, or you might be a chance to get the ball and deliver it inside 50.
Collingwood by 65 points, and He will deliver Adam Kingsley his biggest loss so far as the Giants coach by some margin. Back in the middle, Flynn wins down the tap to Daniels, getting an opportunity in the centre square. High kick inside 50, Hogan from behind. Can't take the mark with Cadman in front. Peatling tries to link up again with Bedford. He becomes the tackler now as he lays the tackle on Murphy. Noble squeeze the kick up towards Taylor Adams. He marks it left half back for the Pies. Is there time for one more? He might be all that interested in doing so as he chips it wide to Jack Crisp. He marks it left half back. Crisp to DeGoey, probably not 15, but the umpire pays it. At left half back for the Collingwood side. The Magpie Army starting to realise that the final rights aren't too far away. DeGoey long down the wing, up towards Ash Johnson, got hands to it, Buckley spoils it down. Cal Ward with the hand pass to Whitfield. Hand pass away to Ash, switches it across half back, out to Wyden, who takes the mark at left half back. The siren sounds. Collingwood by 65 points over the GWS Giants. Happy Mother's Day if you like your AFL ladder in black and white. The Magpies are 8-1. They're on top of the AFL ladder by a game.
See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Collingwood 18-12, 120 to the Giants 7-13, 55 in front of 37,631 fans. The Pies led by 15 points at quarter time, by 32 points at half time, by 41 at three-quarter time before a 5-1 final term to run out 65-point winners. They're a game clear on top of the ladder, 8-1, while the Giants are now 3-6. A big Sunday at the MCG.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Scott Pendlebury finished on the bench as the sub as Reece McInnes play him in to play the final quarter. And the Pies make it 5 wins on the trot with a victory over the Giants by 65 points in a match in which Jamie Elliott booted 3. In a match where they had 10 individual goal kickers, 2 goals to Mason Cox, 2 to Brodie Myercheck, 2 to Ginnivan, Hoskin Elliott, McCreary, Hill, while individual goals to DeGoey, Josh Dacos and Ash Johnson, while for the Giants 3 goals to Jesse Hogan, individuals to Ash, Callahan, Kelly and O'Halloran. Collingwood by 65 points. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, just doing my votes then, Liz, so I'll save it for when we want to do it. But it was actually quite hard because...
A good spread, wasn't it, from
Collingwood? Good spread of players and players in different positions that had a real impact on today's game. But that's always a great sign of a really good football team when you've got multiple guys putting their hand up as being part of the votes. But it was a comprehensive performance today from the Pies. They did a lot right. They just looked too classy for the Giants. Giants had a crack. They certainly dug in and tried to defend and tried to actually attack in a manner that could actually try and pierce the Collingwood defence. But the zone that Collingwood are using at the moment over the whole ground, their team defence is really standing up well, and they're hard to play against at the moment because it's hard to score, and then that inevitably invites pressure with overuse of handball, which the Giants got caught in a little bit today, and then they make you pay on the other way out. So another great day to be a Collingwood fan coming here and just expecting that you're going to get the similar performance week in, week out.
Yeah, it was. I feel like it's Collingwood. They look in sync, don't they? When they're playing, there's always someone there to release to. Like you don't ever see them get caught and spinning around in a tackle and being like, "Oh, where am I going to get this? I'll just dump it." Whereas the Giants boys, whether it's work rate or they're just not quite understanding of each other's game, they were caught in that position quite a few times. You know, I'd love to be able to give this to someone, but there's no one really there for me just to drop this off to. So, that'll come with time, and that takes time to really develop those relationships. The guys that do it the best, obviously, Pendlebury and Sidebottom, they've been playing together for how many years, but it's the Dacos boys. They've got an unbelievable connection. And DeGoey and Mitchell's he's connected reasonably well. He gets a couple of times where he gets caught out with probably lack of leg speed more than anything else, but his hands are super quick. And then they complement each other so well.
It's good balance, isn't it?
It's a great balance. Because you look down the list and Jack Crisp, who's about to play his 200th game in a row, has only had the 15 today, but he's covered off. No worries. We got Dacos with 41, Mitchell 36, DeGoey 31. Not everyone has to have a huge day every day for them to play well. So they complement each other so well, and then to have so many multiple goal kickers down the list, it's a multi-pronged attack, isn't it? So we've sung the praises of a lot of them today, but I think they're rightful winners today. Absolutely comfortable. We thought that's probably the way it was going to go, but hoping that the Giants could put up a decent fight today.
They still have some players to return. Obviously, Jeremy Howe out with the arm injury, Dan McStay, Pat Lipinski, Darcy Cameron, Nathan Kruger. So compare them with a side like, I guess, Richmond, who have tried to add some depth to their talent. And it feels like Collingwood have been able to continue with what they built last year and get better this year. How have they managed to do that? And, Bobby Hill played his role today. Mason Cox is doing TV interviews. I wonder if he'll feature in Mark Murphy's votes. Still to come, but
probably.
It feels like they've found ways to improve, even at times where they've been challenged with their depth.
Yeah, well, I feel like Craig McRae and the coaching group have got them feeling really hungry for that success to try and chase the ultimate. Whereas I feel like the Tigers and a lot of those boys have been to the top of the mountain. So when things get really hard, and especially when you haven't got the soldiers, I feel like that's when you can get challenged, and I think that's what we're seeing a little bit with Richmond versus this ever-hungry Collingwood side. But not just are they hungry, but they've got super inner belief as well, and their ability to come from behind, come from anywhere to run a team down is ultimately what makes them, one, for us, such a great team to watch, but they've got so much trust and belief in themselves.
Yeah, and I think you're getting the depth that you're talking about, but also some of the guys that have traded in. You include Tom Mitchell into that side, Bobby Hill, who played really well today, but I think you get just the natural improvement from other guys like a Nathan Murphy and Isaac Quaynor, who's a terrific one-on-one player and just looks like he's played 200 games already, the way in which he carries himself. He's got great composure. And then you've obviously got the star in what Nick Dacos is, and Josh Dacos has lifted his game to another notch too. So you're not relying on just a couple of blokes who week to week get the job done. You've got a really great spread that we've already talked about so far, and there's no weak link in their side at the moment. There's obviously some pressure coming from the reserves as well, and they're just playing a great team brand of football at the moment.
They're so impressive with ball in hand, and obviously that's the eye-catching thing about them, but defensively, so since round 2 they averaged 66 points per game against. It's a hell of an effort without the footy, what they've been able to do, and probably goes, because of how good they are with the footy, it probably goes sort of understated.
Yeah, and getting the opportunity to watch it live here today, their midfield zone was very impressive. That within 40 metres of the ball, there was not one guy out of tune with the other. Their spacing was terrific. It was very rarely was there any crossover. When the Giants had the ball and were trying to look forward to try and pierce that defence, it was just numbers of Collingwood black and white stripes through the middle of the ground. So you can go wide if you like it. They're happy to give you that opportunity to go wide, but you're not going to go through us. And the one or two opportunities that they did to go through and they actually scored, but that's over the entirety of a 4-quarter effort. I think they were really sound through the middle of the ground with their defensive structure, the Pies.
One thing I think they do, how they challenge you, is with their offense is how they're strong defensively. And Dacos down there obviously has 41. He plays a little bit inside, but most of his time at half-back. Noble just goes. Markov just takes off. Maynard takes off. The only couple that stay really is Moore, Murphy and Quaynor, where the rest just go off and challenge you. So as soon as they go off, you have to then chase them to try and to nullify their run. Therefore, you're out of position and you can't kick goals back the other way. So it's a really attacking weapon for them at half-back, and it's where they start the majority of their scores.
Yeah, they've got a great ability to, even when they are slowed up, to generate pace back in the ball. And whether that's a mark, which then is an overlap handball, or it's someone just backing in run, which opens up space for a teammate to work into, they've just got great understanding of where to run and how to use the football going forward.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts on ABC Sport, as Darcy Moore leads Collingwood off the MCG. Craig McRae's in there amongst the Magpies. Winners by 65 points over the Giants. Let's join Jess Webster, who's in the Collingwood rooms.
Wonderful scenes in the Collingwood rooms as the players make their way into the rooms. The mothers have formed or will form a ring with them as they sing their team song. So there's mothers, there's of course mothers of the players, there's their partners with their kids as well. It's just really wonderful scenes here, of course, on Mother's Day. It's a lovely touch by the club as they're making their way into the rooms now. Great performance from the Pies. Nick Dacos with 41 disposals, Jamie Elliott with 3 goals. 5 in a row, top of the ladder, winners by 65 points. And they've gathered to sing the song. Let's have a listen. Oh, before they want to sing the song, Darcy Moore said, let's get the mothers in here. So they gathered in a circle to sing the song and said, wait a minute, this isn't complete on Mother's Day without the mothers joining them, linking in arms. It really is a wonderful sight to see. No doubt we're going to get a great rendition of this Pies song. The circle has gotten much bigger, I must say. Here we go now. To remember on Mother's Day, Clinchy will have an interview shortly.
Thanks, Jess. Looking forward to being back down with you. The biggest question was going to be, where was Colleen Dacos going to be? Sure enough, in between her 2 boys, Josh and Nick, as they belted out the Collingwood song. The Magpies winners by 65 points over GWS. 18-12, 120 to the Giants, 7-13, 55. We're going to be on air for another 34 minutes, so a chance for you to control the agenda with your thoughts of the weekend's footy. 0437 774 774. Already some great questions coming through, Corby. For example, Matt in Canberra. This is an appalling time to play a game of footy for families with young kids. Was watching with the family, but had to leave at halftime. Thanks to the ABC Listen app for the call. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Go Pies. There was one member of our team who bumped into Andrew Dillon last week. So, I mean, 2 games on Mother's Day, one at 1:10 and 4:40.
There is a 4:40 game every week. It just must be said that none of us or the Magpies are usually on it. So, but there is ordinarily a game at this time, which, as you sort of say, after 8 games of footy have already come and gone.
But if you're only going to play 2 games on Mother's Day,
yep,
are you really starting one at 4:40?
Well, I mean, what we would usually have is a 3:20 game, which is obviously a time slot, which is a time slot reserved for the free-to-air network, Channel 7. And so basically...
And there is no free-to-air game today. Both are on pay TV.
So if there was a game at 3:20, we'd all be sitting here going, why are there only 2 games on and they overlap?
So I get it. You can't please everyone.
We didn't have overlapping games today. We had one game roll into the other and you could sit at home and watch 8 quarters of footy with mum. But I get you can't have every game in prime time, and Collingwood very rarely get pushed here, as you mentioned it off the top, Lids. It really is one of the graveyard shifts of the weekend. The last game on the Sunday, it's often played interstate in Perth, or we saw St Kilda and North get it last week. But I don't know why they just don't fixture the round as normal on Mother's Day. What are they trying to say, that mum doesn't want to go to the footy on her special day on the calendar? There'll be plenty of mums out there that'll love to go to the footy.
Yeah, and take the kids and go and have a day out like that. Lots of people would love to do that.
Yep.
I liked it. 0437 774 774. If you've got some questions or thought-provoking statements like that, let's head back into the Collingwood rooms. Jess Webster's there after the Magpies' 65-point win.
Thanks, Clinchy. I've managed to find Bobby Hill amongst a sea of family and friends in the rooms at the moment. Bobby, first things first, happy Mother's Day to your mother and your wonderful partner, Georgia. Of course, Bobby Hill Jr. is here in the rooms today. What was that moment like to sing the song with your partner and your mother?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. That's what it's all about, family club here, and like I said, it's a Mother's Day, and it's unbelievable to celebrate with them, and to all the mothers out there as well, happy Mother's Day.
Let's talk about the footy. 5 in a row, back on top of the ladder. Talk us through how you got the job done today.
Yeah, it's just obviously the way we play footy. It's exciting and it's fun, and we had a game plan to come out there and knew what they wanted to do, and to deliver that tonight was unbelievable.
And you didn't waste any time getting yourself on the highlights real early in that first quarter. Brilliant goal. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was good to get back on the goal scoring list again. A bit quiet for the last 3 weeks, so just went back to basics, and my pressure was the one I really wanted to go out there with, and on the back of that, the goals will come on the back of that. But just like team first and pressure, and then lucky enough to finish off with 2 goals.
Bobby Hill with us on Grandstand AFL. Let's head upstairs to the box. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy are our experts. I reckon, Bobby, they're going to ask you about a big ruckman from the US.
Bobby, it's Lids. I won't start with that one. I just want to get your thoughts on playing your old mob, mate. How did you find that? Obviously, you know those boys pretty intimately. Anyone give you any stick out there, mate? Did you enjoy the game?
No, it was. I thought it was going to be a bit of this and that, but no, it was full credit to them. They come out, the way they wanted to play, and I think the only one was a bit of Iden, but that's the brotherhood we have when I was there, and there was a bit of banter. I was the one that was going around pinching them, and didn't get a response. So
being a pest.
Yeah, trying to.
And how are you finding it, mate? Settled in down here in Melbourne, obviously. Fair bit different, isn't it? Playing from up there in Sydney, where you're more of an unknown up there, but down here as a Pies player, how good is it playing in front of those huge crowds?
Yeah, it's every childhood's dream, I think, to play in front of big crowds every week, and I'm lucky enough to do that, and unbelievable fans here at Collingwood Football Club, and to do that week in, week out, it's unbelievable, and Melbourne's good. It feels like at home, and the only thing is I just got to get used to is just the weather. I got no meat on me, and I just try to cover up.
Bobby Murphy, but I was actually asking about the question how you've settled into a bit of a colder climate, but you talked about the fans and playing amongst the big crowds here at the MCG, but who's been the one player that's really looked after you since you first got down to the club?
I can name a fair few. I think obviously you get that bond when you're in the position you're like with the forwards, backs and mids, and the one I really look up to is Jamie Elliott. So he's a big one that I try to base my game around that, and talk to him a fair bit about stuff. With the last couple of weeks where I was a bit down with my performance, and just went back to basics with him, and we got a bit of a goal kick in the competition, so we keep our stuff going, and I'll just go back to him, and Jamie Elliott's one of the big one.
Is he like the main leader down there in the forward line, or is it more just about the team orientated way in which you're trying to play down there at Collingwood? Because it looked like even that little dribble goal you kicked, you looked to the centre of to the top of the square, but I think you thought different, thought I can nail this myself, but no doubt you looked to centre that one first.
Yeah, I think we all drive it in the forward line. Everyone's a leader, and we want that next man mentality to come up. So when he's one of the boys in the twos that comes straight in, he can drive that himself. So I think we've got obviously the leaders, the older boys with Checkers and Bill, but everyone's comes in, puts a bit of bits and pieces in, and just that one where that's all I always do. Inside the middle, if we've got nothing, then hope the best.
You do look like you've got a bit of a strut, which I do love. But have we seen someone who's got more of a strut than Mason Cox?
Oh, he loves it, doesn't he? When he marked it, he's like, I want him to go back, and he's just staring at people. It's like, brother, go back and kick the goal.
He's going very well today. He was probably one of the best on ground, I thought, today. But we do love a little bit of a strut. Brett Delidio is obviously big in terms of the strutting. He had the oil on the arms, and back in the day when he used to play. But
he was trying to be like him when I was at the Giants.
That's right, buddy.
With the big arms, and then tried doing that. That didn't work. So.
Bobby Hill with us on Grandstand AFL. Bobby, it's Corbett Middlemass here. That you obviously have one of the most passionate fan bases in the competition. We know what happened last Sunday, obviously, against the Swans, and the club released a statement on the Monday basically saying, look, we're not a fan of the booing. It was signed by the captain, Darcy Moore. Is it something that the group spoke about all together, or was that just discussed with the leaders separate from the rest of the playing group?
I think it was just more obviously the leaders separate, but it's unbelievable the way they can do that, and respect a legend like Buddy, and that's to do that, it's unbelievable. It makes us, not only us Indigenous boys, but everyone else feel real welcome, and it's like I said, it's unbelievable.
Pretty important couple of rounds coming up on the calendar too. The Sir Doug Nicholls rounds, obviously, over the next 2 weeks as an Indigenous player in the competition. What does it mean beyond just the jumpers and obviously the Dreamtime fixture, but as a celebration of culture? What does it mean to you to be part of that?
Yeah, it's unbelievable for the AFL to recognise that and have the 2 weeks of that as a brand part of the AFL. It's unbelievable. It makes with my culture, I'm very proud Indigenous man, and to have all the brothers in the AFL as well, and all the Indigenous community as well to have that for us. It's unbelievable.
Bobby, it's Matt Clinch here. Obviously, to get to 50 games, you've been through a bit more than what your average footballer would with the testicular cancer diagnosis. Was there any special celebration that took place before the game, and how many of your friends and family did you have in attendance?
It wasn't too much. I didn't want obviously to all be all about me with the 50th. Very grateful to for Giants to draft me and make my childhood dream come true, and then to play, I think it was 41 there, and then finish off to finish off to get 50 and to play against them. It was very good setup, and going through all that as well. Full credit to my family for all that.
And just finally, the noise when it comes to a Collingwood game. Having seen Anzac Day, Collingwood Carlton next week, I'm not sure what you know about how big those clashes are, but traditionally they're standing room only. Are you looking forward to showcasing your best against the Blues?
Yeah, can't wait. We watch it on TV how big the game is, and it should be a good week, and play some exciting footy and get the win.
You're a joy to watch today, Bobby. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck next week and for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bobby Hill joining us from the Magpies rooms, winners by 65 points over the Giants. 18-12, 120 to the Giants, 7-13-55, and a goal of the round contender with his dribbling goal from the right forward pocket.
Interestingly, Jack Ginnivan was out of the team at the start of the year for obvious reasons. He was suspended, wasn't able to play after the incident over the summer. Will all three of them be there, do you think, when the whips are cracking? McCreery, sort of Ginnivan, Bobby, can they all play in the same team?
Who's to come in? It's going to take his spot.
Well, so the only guys really out of this team are McStay, Howe, Kruger, Cameron.
McStay comes in, Cameron comes in, Howe comes in.
So they've gone a little smaller since those
Johnson
guys have
goes
gone
out, I would have thought,
right.
for McStay. But I think Ginnivan, Hill and Elliott could all play in the same team.
Yeah, they're all very different, and I think if they're all pressuring and Bobby was big on talking about Jamie Elliott taking him under his wing, and obviously they're all going to try and form a little nucleus there of small guys that all play their role, and pressure's a big part of that, and that's why they're going so well. But Ginnivan kicks 2 today, and he just looks like he's going to kick a goal every time he gets a ball inside 50. And we saw him play last week, and it was his class and composure when he came on that he really had an impact. So he doesn't need a lot of disposal to have an impact on the ground, and that's what happens as a small forward too. You're not going to have big days playing there week to week. You're going to have your day where you have a really quiet one, and you have your teammate who's in a similar type role who has not a day out but kicks 2 or 3, and that's just the role of playing a small forward. But I think what Craig McRae has obviously brought to that side's about one, obviously playing a role, what is encompassed in that, and that's obviously pressure's a big part of it, playing small forward at Collingwood.
Well, all three of them are great sub-options too, given the fact that they can inject a bit of pace and impact straight away, and with your options like Hoskin, Elliott, McStay, those sort of tweener kind of players that if you lose someone in any other area of the ground, you can rejig things and go a little smaller up front and have all three of them if you need to later in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the hardest part for these little small forwards is that it's very hard to get inside 50 tackles unless the ball's like you got everyone buying in. So quite often you're trading up for a loopy handball over, or team will roll back wing, sometimes 2. So you're constantly outnumbered. So you need everyone to buy in, and that's where just looking at the tackle count doesn't always tell the full story, because I spoke about Bo McCreery during that game. His amount of pressure that he puts on. Jamie Elliott ran from 30 metres away just to put a smother on. Doesn't get a stat other than a 1%er if you look deep enough into the stats.
You've got to look at sometimes you're like a Jack Russell down there, and you might not have the impact and get the tackle, but it's what you're forcing coming out. And we saw a lot of what Collingwood are doing this year and today, that the Giants trying to get the ball out of their D50 were just coming up against a brick wall, and that's because they've got pressure from these smaller type forwards who are putting that pressure on the opponent on the way out.
So, it seems a simple thing to say, but executing your role, and I mean, you touched on the small forwards, and there'll be competition for spots once they get to the business end of the season, but can you have a coach who can encourage all of that, and regardless of whether you get 10 possessions or 30 possessions, your role in a win is still valuable, and that dictates the culture of a group?
Yes, it's got to be celebrated within the four walls, otherwise you get blokes that start
and the standards you set.
Yeah, and the blokes will start to white out and say, oh, this is crap, why am I not in the, I've had this many, but he's only had that, and he's in the side, but I'm not, and that's when you got real fractures within a group. And mate, I've played in sides where that sort of stuff goes on, where it feels like the Pies are, they've got a real cohesiveness down there where everyone's happy for everyone's success, and to get that, that's a real art of coaching, I think.
Yep. Nick Dacos finished with 40 disposals. He was sort of tracking away well in the second quarter, but got a fair bit of it in the last quarter. 41 disposals, 10 contested possessions, 4 inside 50s, 9 score involvements. And Tom Mitchell with 36 as well, with Jordan DeGoey with 31. Just a word or two on the Giants lids, and then we'll let you guys steer the agenda where you want to go for the rest of the broadcast. GWS's biggest losing margin had been 21 points before today to the Brisbane Lions back in round 6. They got it back to 26 points on a couple of occasions in the third quarter where Collingwood were trying to peg in front, but apart from that, Collingwood looked a bit of a class above today. How did you assess the Giants?
Yeah, I think you're right, Clinchy, there. They just could never get those back-to-back goals. I reckon, Corby, you made mention of it during the call, that they get one, but they just didn't have that next step to go again, and Collingwood were just up the ante. Weeks gone by, they might have got caught Collingwood napping for a quarter, and really brought the game a bit closer, which then, anything can happen with momentum on your side. But to me, it just looked like a young side that just didn't quite have the maturity and the leaders or enough games experience around it to steer the ship in the right way. So, they're learning. Adam Kingsley, it's a tough loss today because they have been tracking so well, but he'll be, he'll find some positives out of that, no doubt, and, get back to work and say, righto, boys, well, we got touched up by a damn good side today.
What can we learn from it?
What can we learn? Exactly. And then, work out a way to go forward and not dwell on it and ride the roller coaster too much.
Yeah, well, they're certainly not the first club to come here to the MCG and play against Collingwood. We saw Port Adelaide earlier in the year get a real lesson from the Pies, and the Giants, they don't get to play there too often, so there's obviously that home ground effect, but I think Lids is right. They showed glimpses of some good parts, but over the entirety of the game, you can't play in parts against a really top-class side, and that's exactly what Collingwood are at the moment.
I've got an observation. Collingwood by 65, by the way, over GWS. I get the strength and conditioning department and all the rest of it and everything that goes on with sports science.
I'm glad you brought this up.
In the modern day.
Yep.
But at 33 years of age,
why
after 278 games...
Oh, I know where this is going. Why is he out there?
Why does Callum Ward need to be running laps of the G after his team's just got pumped by 11 goals and doing laps at this stage of his career?
Let's hold fire on that, because I think we can head back down to Jess Webster. She's wandered to the GWS rooms after Collingwood winners by 65 points, 18-12, 120 to GWS 7-13. 55. Have you got us there, Jess?
I do, Clinchy. I've got Josh Kelly with me. Thanks for your time post-game. You came up against a really classy outfit tonight in Collingwood. What is the initial reaction after the loss?
Yeah, they were impressive. They're at the top of the table, or right up there for a reason, but I think from our point of view, it's just disappointing we didn't play the way we wanted to play. I think we've been building over the last month, 6 weeks, putting patches of our best footy together, and that was slowly getting better and better, but today was probably a bit of a step back. So disappointing from our end, but Pies are up there for a reason.
You mentioned the past month. You've played some quality opposition, Brisbane and Collingwood, Dogs in there. You beat Sydney by a point. What are some of the positives to take out of the last month of footy?
I think the positives are when we've played our way, it's looked really good. So that's taking the game on, taking care of stoppages, getting it into our forward line, playing, daring footy from the back half and exciting footy. So that's definitely what we're working on, and it's really clear what we want our system to look like. But it's when we don't string it together, like our pressure is something we really pride ourselves on, and I think tonight that was way down. So we got a bit touched up in that area.
A nice story today, though, Cam Fleeton making his debut. He's been on the list for 3 years, has persevered to get his opportunity. It must give you some joy to see a young kid finally get a shot at the big time.
Oh, yeah, he's one of the favourites within the group. He's done it the hard way. I think for a couple of years he's been really close to getting the game. He just hasn't quite had his opportunity, but then today to go out there and you kind of saw what he's able to do. He's a competitor. He plays to the last minute, and that's why the boys love playing with him. So, he's got a long career ahead of him.
Josh Kelly with us on Grandstand AFL. Let's head upstairs. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, over to you.
Chucky, Lids. Mate, I just want, you said about us not playing our way. I want to know, is that you boys not being ready or not coming out and getting your style up and going, or is that Collingwood's ability to take that off you?
Yeah, hey, Lids. I don't know, a bit of both. I think, like I said, we didn't control what we wanted to control. Our pressure was way down. So that's one of our main areas that we want to pride ourselves on. And I think any team across the competition, when you don't bring the pressure, you're going to get touched up. But, at the same time, Collingwood, they brought the heat. Their small forwards were, emptying out, and the amount of run-down tackles they had was really impressive. Around the footy, they were strong and pressured us and caused probably, they took a bit of quality off the footy from stoppages. So, yeah, you got to say it's a bit of both. Us not executing and Collingwood really coming to play.
What was the message post-game, mate? What did Kingers have to say? Was he disappointed, or was it, right, that's a damn good side and we need to learn as much as we can?
Oh, both. I think disappointed, like I've said a couple of times, that we didn't control what we wanted to control, but optimistic in that sense. If we execute the areas we want to, that should get us into the game. We just weren't able to do that really at all for large parts of the game. So it's disappointment, but it's not the end of the world. We got to respond. We got a big game against Saints next week, so we'll address those areas pretty intently and hope for a better one next week.
Josh, Mark Murphy here. I thought the dare and the want to have a crack at going through the corridor was there. Is it more about the balance of when to go quick and when to go slow and play more of an uncontested mark method, especially against a good side like Collingwood?
Yeah, there's definitely part of that, but also the fundamentals within that. I think at times we probably let ourselves down in that area, so that's a constant, across the board. If you can't execute fundamentals, then you're probably going to, have trouble moving the footy smoothly from end to end. So, it's a bit of game sense, but we, like I said earlier, we want to take the game on. We want to be daring. So, we're not going to pull someone up for going for a kick and that not coming off, but that's part of our system we want to build, and we need to execute a little bit better.
And that obviously be heavily trained throughout the pre-season. Do you get much of an opportunity to train that during the season, obviously with quick turnarounds and the amount of training that you are able to do? Is that something that Adam Kingsley's tried to bring to the group about your skill and your skill execution, just going over and over it again and again at training?
Yeah, I think so, because it has been a whole new system and various things we're trying to implement. We probably are, we've trained a lot more than we have in the past. That pre-season was big, but during the week we are spending, more time trying to focus on these areas and execute these areas, so that hopefully the game plan can come together as quick as possible. So, yeah, we'll go again this week. We'll train those areas. We'll train the fundamentals. We'll work on those things. But at the end of the day, we got to bring them on game day and bring the pressure, which we probably didn't do.
Hey, Chook, just wondering, what did Wardy do to deserve this flogging that he's getting out on the deck, mate? Yeah. Why did he start as sub and now he's been put through a pre-season?
Oh, you know how it is. He's got to be ready to go next week. He's got to get his 10Ks in, so he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's trying to dodge the seagulls out there at the moment.
No, you boys know how it is. It's all part of
it. As we let you go, Josh, Toby Green, it sounds like he was pretty close to playing this week. A fitness test on Friday. Do you expect he'll be right for next week against the Saints?
Yeah, I think he'll be good to go. He's pushed hard, but it was pretty clear his ankle wasn't going to be right for this week. So, you can imagine how disappointed he is not being out there with the boys, but he's doing everything he can. So, yeah, I think he'll be out there next week.
As always, we appreciate your time, especially after a loss. Good luck next week against the Saints.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Josh Kelly joining us from the Giants rooms. Collingwood winners by 65 points, 18-12, 120 to the Giants, 7-13-55. Matt Clinch, Corbin Metamass, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy. You were just starting to wind up to your big spiel about Cal Ward having to do the kilometres in the middle of the MCG, and it seemed the perfect chance to get an insight from the Giants rooms. Mm-hmm. Plenty of SMSs coming through, 0437 774 774. We also have the announcement of the Summer of Cricket taking place tomorrow with all the official dates for the test matches in Australia. We'll bring you that before we sign off in around 12 minutes' time. So do you guys want to take control, or do you want me to start first?
You start first, shoot from the hip.
Is Collingwood the flag? Oh, sorry, Murph.
Do you want the votes?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get the votes out first. So I know our listeners are all hanging on to waiting for the votes.
Yeah, okay, right.
So
give us the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year.
I gave my one vote to Nick Dacos.
What? 41 touches on.
Well,
that's
Lee, just wait for the next two. I think you'll be impressed. So Nick Dacos was terrific again today, but my two goes to Jordan De Goey. I thought he was second best on ground. He was terrific up until probably three-quarter time. I thought when the game was right there for the win in the first half, he was easily one of the better performers of the day. But my four-quarter performance...
No, he hasn't.
And all-time great strutter.
The trumpet.
Mason Cox.
The trumpet.
Who blew his own trumpet, and I've fallen in line with it.
Sometimes if you don't toot your own horn, there is no music.
Correct.
And that is good on Mason Cox. What a game he played
Four-quarter
today.
performance. Just the two touches in the
deciding factor in the
game was over. The game was over.
The deciding factor in the eyes of Mark Murphy. 3 to Mason Cox, 2 to Jordan De Goey, and 1 to Nick Dacos in the ABC Footballer of the Year. All right, everyone have a go here. My opening question to you guys. Are Collingwood the flag favourites as we're now past a third of the way through the season on top of the ladder by a game after 9 rounds?
In one word answer, yes. They are. I love the way they play the game. There's sound behind the footy, and I think when they get these players back, Howe, McStay, Cameron back into the ruck, I think they just get even stronger. So, you can worry a little bit about players coming back in and messing with the fabric of your side, but those guys, I think, will just fit in seamlessly, and it just adds to their depth.
Earth? Do you want one word? He gave you one word, then gave you a sentence.
I said first question.
They're right there with Melbourne. I've got them level pegging with Melbourne at the moment. So
whose best is the best?
I think Melbourne's best is the best.
Oh,
still,
wow.
I think they've
done it for longer.
Well, they're shown, and but I like the combination of Gawn and Grundy. You can't look past that with Petrarca and Oliver, who I still rate as two of probably the top 4 midfielders in the competition. So I feel they're stars, obviously, on both sides, no doubt. But I just feel that Melbourne just by a little bit at the moment, but Collingwood sway me week by week at the moment.
Who's best is the best, Corby?
I think when the dust settles, it'll be the same two teams that the best two teams of last year, which is Collingwood and Geelong.
Okay.
So I think when the Cats get them all back and they're up and going, that their best is
cherry.
really, really good. And I want to see Collingwood and Geelong both fully loaded going at it at some stage.
Yeah.
It might be the biggest King's birthday we've ever seen when Collingwood take on Melbourne. They're my two best sides at the moment. Alan in capital letters on the SMS from Carlton. ABC Sports commentators, please give us the complete AFL ladder at the completion of the round. So, Alan, this is for you. Collingwood are on top, 8 wins and 1 loss. Melbourne in second, 7-2, with the Brisbane Lions in third. Port Adelaide in fourth. St Kilda is a game further back at 6-3 in fifth position. The Western Bulldogs with them. Geelong in seventh at 5-4. Adelaide are now inside the 8 after their win over the Saints, 5-4. Carlton is outside, 4 wins, 4 losses and a draw. The Bombers have slid down to 4-5. They're in 10th position, as are the Gold Coast Suns and Fremantle starting to make a move. The Tigers half a game further back, 3 wins, 5 losses and a draw. And then Sydney in 14th position, the Giants in 15th, North Melbourne in 16th, and beautifully, the West Coast Eagles play Hawthorn down in Tassie next week, and they're in the bottom 2 spots of the AFL ladder. So the Hawks on the bottom of the table at the moment, and the Eagles with 1 win and 8 losses.
It gets worse for Cal Ward. The sprinklers are on. Oh, my
Just
God.
some obstacles to work his way
Show
around.
him some respect.
I was about to say, where is the respect? 278 games, 33 years of age. One of the greats in the history of this, short history of this new club. And he's out there running around because he needs a few more miles into his 33-year-old legs.
Yeah.
On the SMS, Hawks versus the West Coast Eagles for the Harley Reid Cup. Who wants the number 1 draft pick? Ben Cameron needs to copyright the seed for Reid as he's promoting it, no doubt, on Corbett and Ben this week, 5 o'clock Eastern, and wherever you get your podcast from under the best of ABC Sport. All right, Lids, what's your key takeaway from round 9?
Oh, my key takeaway, but I've got a question for Murph. It's not a key
question.
Yeah.
Good.
It's nearly 2 questions. What's wrong with the Blues, and is Vossi in any sort of strife?
Please.
Are we really
who needs enemies when you got friends like this?
Are we really handing the agenda to Brett Deledio this afternoon? It's 7:53.
Yeah, you got 7 minutes to answer my question. Go. The people want to hear it. The text came through. They nearly blew up.
So what was the first part of the question? What's wrong with the Blues?
What's the fundamental thing that's going wrong for the Blues as to why they're not
that's
connecting?
Easy. Well, it's their ball movement, obviously. I think.
Is it slow?
Well, it is too slow, but
is it not adventurous enough?
I'm not getting a chance to answer this question.
No, I want to put words in your mouth.
Is it not adventurous enough? I think when they did play with flair last night, that they actually were able to score, and when they just make it up and go, I think they're in that first half, and what we've seen for the majority of this year, that they've been a little bit too, not a little bit, but they've been too methodical and too, they're not willing to take dare and risk into it, where you look at the game today, and even the Giants played with a bit more dare and risk to try and score. So they're hard to score against the Blues, but I feel that's because they're not opening themselves up as much on trying to score. So they sometimes need a Rob Paul, what's the saying?
Rob Peter, pay Paul.
That's the one I was after. And I don't feel they're playing with that aggressive ball use. And there's courage in playing AFL football to put your head over the football to hit a body, but there's also courage to back your skill in. And I don't feel they're backing themselves in enough at the moment.
Why is that? Is that because coaching, or is that because the players just lacking confidence?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them, but it looks to me from watching the last couple of weeks, it looks like there's some that don't want the ball in their hands because they don't want to make a mistake sometimes. And then there's guys who usually are great decision makers and ball users who aren't looking for the shortest route home. They're looking wide and they're taking the easy option.
It's cancerous, isn't it? Just it spreads.
Yeah, and then there was even times last night where set shots were had by some very senior stars of the competition, and it was like, oh, it looks a bit smelly sometimes. So there was sometimes when it's going against you, it all snowballs, and last night it snowballed in that first half, and then to their credit, they actually came out in that third quarter and had a crack, which they have been having a crack, but they had a crack by trying to be aggressive with ball in hand, and they got results from it. And then at the end of the day, they made a few errors again and were beaten, but I thought they played pretty poor last night, and they still managed to find themselves in front in the last quarter. So it's not all doom and gloom, but they're going to have a big task to come out here next Sunday and go anywhere near Collingwood, because at the moment, Collingwood would probably beat them by 8 to 10 goals.
So it's easy to be a good defensive team when you're not attacking. It's really hard to be a good defensive team when also you're attacking with ball in hand. What was the second part of the question, Liz?
Sarah Ferguson sort of style with the Brett Delidio taking on the post-match here. But let me put it to you, Mark, how much pressure will Vossi and the Blues be under next Sunday? That's on the SMS.
That's where I got it from.
I did avoid that part of that question, didn't I, by giving an extended brief of what's going wrong at the
Real
moment.
sort of Alistair Clark said, if I keep talking, everyone will forget the question.
Well, media trained.
I think there's obviously a lot of pressure on everyone at that football club at the moment. And
that umbrella.
Well, and we're going to find out a lot about them in the next month of football. So I think as fans, they want to see their side trying to score more, because you look at their key forwards that they've got, and they should be scoring more. And you look at some of the players they've got through the midfield, then you look at their pillars of defence, they should be defending. Yeah. Well, they're defending well, but they're not being adventurous on the way out. So I'd like to see them play with more risk and dare, and they're certainly going to have their hands full trying to get through that Collingwood rolling defence.
Do you think they need more speed in their midfield? Do you think that they lack in that area?
I think they certainly need some more leg speed, but I still feel they're not thinking quick enough and executing quick enough as well, which then leads into the fact they look sluggish.
Well, we always got told the ball moves faster.
It does.
So that leads into what you're saying. Is they're not thinking quick enough. They're not moving the ball quick enough.
So I feel that for anyone who's played a bit of football, and for some that obviously are listening that don't, when you get the ball in a certain part of the ground, you should be looking for the shortest route home, I think, at every opportunity, and you should be knowing where you want to execute the ball next. So I just feel that looking at the way in which they're playing, there's guys who don't know where their next disposal is going, and they're not looking there. So if you're not looking there initially, it's gone.
Yep.
Against good teams, it goes straight
away from you.
So when you come and do that against Collingwood, it won't be there for long. It'll be there for a small period, and you've got to take it, and you've got to back in your skill to hit it.
I think they'll play freer next Sunday than they played last night.
Yeah.
I actually think no one thinks they're going to win. It's a huge chance, playing a big stage in front of the best team in the competition. Not a person in footy is probably going to tip Carlton next week.
No, and unfortunately, when they've got expectation on them, they haven't performed where they should do. And they didn't get the basics done well last year when it really counted in the last two games, and they missed finals as a result. So I'm not sure if there's any hangover from that about executing the basics well enough, but last year they were a great scoring side from stoppage and clearance, and they've lost a part of that, so I'd like to see them go more at the front of a stoppage rather than go wide.
So their big 6 weeks, they lost by 26 points to the Brisbane Lions, by 20 to the Western Bulldogs. They've got Collingwood, Sydney, Melbourne and Essendon in the weeks to come. Good
I feel like I'm still playing for Carlton. I'm like, go home here.
Put the jumper back in the bag. So that's run us out of time, pretty much. Collingwood winners by 65 points. The good news is Corbin and Ben tomorrow from 5 Eastern.
Oh, Murph's back on.
Can
we just wheel out the last 8 minutes?
He's in the hot seat. We'll be asking him about Carlton again. We'll also talk about swapping jumpers and eating grass. All that happened over the weekend because the footy was lopsided. And we got a few Fev stories from you. I heard you caught up with Fev on Saturday night.
Had Fev last night in the Super Suite with a few Carlton fans. So
all of that tomorrow. Best of ABC Sport folder in the podcast store or ABC Sport Digital from 5 o'clock Eastern with Corbin and Ben and Mark Murphy.
So you guys just pick up the conversation where we left off. The International Summer of Cricket will get underway from Perth with Australia taking on Pakistan in the men. Then from the MCG, the second test, and the SCG, the 2 matches against the West Indies will take place as the tests to follow from the Adelaide Oval and the Gabba. Then a one-day series against the West Indies, a T20 series against the West Indies in Feb. The women's summer gets underway with T20s against the West Indies. Then one-day internationals in October ahead of the WBBL. And then in January, a T20 series against South Africa ahead of a one-day series and the women's test against South Africa from Perth, the 15th to the 18th of Feb. So the first test gets underway from Perth, taking on Pakistan, the Australian men. So looking forward to that. Thanks for your company on Grandstand AFL across the weekend.